righty then, welcome into the high noon stream for today, which is Thursday afternoon. It is the 5th day. No, gosh, look at that. See, I was a little distracted here when we started. Hi, I'm Pugs Moran. This is high noon. So stupid. All right, let's try and regroup here. See, I jumped in. Didn't want to be late. Didn't want to hear it from Byron. Didn't want to hear, oh, you're 2 minutes late today. This is the high noon stream. We do 2 streams a day. We do high noon. This comes on at noon, Monday through Friday. And what this is a rundown of all the things that are happening in the world. Trending topics, headlines, hot topics, current events, pop culture, that kind of thing. I am Pugs Moran, and I do this by myself every day at noon like a big boy. Then we do a second stream here. We do a stream at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, Monday night through Thursday night. That's myself and James Parker. That's Pugs and Parker proudly present Pillow Talk on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. That, so as not to be confused with this, that is more conversational. That's me and Parker. It's 1 or 2 topics. We twist them apart. We talk about them. We get in depth on things. We argue about stupid shit. So it's a different kind of stream. This one, however, utilitarian, a cheat sheet, something for you. This is so that you know everything that is happening in the world around you. Byron is here. Hi, Byron. Al is here. Hi, Al. Leslie's here. Hi, Leslie. Come on, folks. Fill in. Plenty of room in the chat room. Good seats still available. Let me make a bit of an announcement, though, at the start, because I get things in my head and it bothers me. And it's just like, I can't move on until it's addressed. Okay. So you may notice that today I am wearing a red Stanford shirt, right? And this bothers me. Hi, Kenny. And here's why it bothers me that I'm wearing a red Stanford t-shirt. I am neither one, a graduate, or even attendee of Stanford University in California, nor am I two, particularly a fan of Stanford. The t-shirt that I'm wearing today came to me years ago, 2 or 3 years ago at this point, in a giant bag filled with free clothes. Okay. The person who used to buy me clothes and used to dress me up like her little rag doll, included this t-shirt in a group of clothing options for me because it went with an outfit that she had put together. Actually, it matched the shoes. It matched red shoes, which red shoes are kind of cool, but I've never worn them. Anyway, that explains why I am a Stanford poser. Now, I say that I'm not necessarily a fan of Stanford. That's not to say that I have any real dislike for Stanford. I don't mind Stanford. It's a great school. I would be incredibly proud if my child attended Stanford University. That's one of those, I'm a parent who did a good job because that kid's smart. Okay, so it's a good college. But this wearing the Stanford shirt in no way suggests any sort of pose on my part, trying to pretend as if I went there, or any kind of endorsement of any of their sports teams or anything. It's not real. It's a non-factor to me. Again, this was given to me in a bag with a bunch of other things, and it just matched. It matched an outfit that was put together for me. And now I wear it today. I find myself here in front of camera wearing a Stanford shirt because I haven't done laundry in like 10 days. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'll put on the Stanford t-shirt that I usually run in. I do wear it to run in because I run in this ridiculously high-end neighborhood. And if people want to think that I went to Stanford, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine for the purpose of running. A little misdirect, leave me alone. Maybe it will distract you from the fact that there's a fat middle-aged man huffing and puffing down your block at 9:30 in the evening. 10:30 in the evening, actually. All right, so let's get started on what today is. We're going to run through all the topics, all the trends. We're going to do some, what the heck is going on in the backyard? Hold on, the dog is barking because there are people in the back greenway. Okay. Couple of Hispanic gentlemen. Okay, they're just landscapers. That's all. No worries. There you go. Dog doesn't like landscapers. Dog doesn't like anybody coming near the yard. That's why she's barking. All right, it is high noon, the 19th day of May. The year 2022, May 15th, is, if you were wondering, the 135th day of the year. There are 230 days that remain until the end of the year. We like to start each and every show. We have a couple of categories how we run through the show. The first, we'd like to touch on the what is today, the National Day of Calendar, because every day of the year is some stupid day. Hey, it's National Peanut Day, stuff like that. Let's see what today is. Very few national days being recognized today. It is National Devil's Food Cake Day. It's just chocolate, right? Isn't that what devil's food cake is? Chocolate? Okay, that's fine. I'm down with that. It's also National May Ray Day. Not May Day. Not May Day Day. It's May Ray Day. I don't know what May Ray Day is. Let's see. Let's jump into that. Let's find out what that is. It's National May Ray Day is May 19th. May 19th is the time of year National May Ray Day celebrates the bright sunshine, warmer weather, so it's like sun ray. Okay, I get it. So it's National May Sun Ray Day. May Ray Day rhymes better. I get it. That's why they went. All right, let's jump into the historical events. This is category 2. We tell you the historical events. We run through birthdays. We run through people who died today. Maybe give a few thoughts on the individuals that we cover. And then we move into the topics. Then we move into what's trending, what's making headlines, what everybody's talking about. On this day in 1536, and it made the list today only because yesterday it also made the list. On this day yesterday in 1536, King Henry VIII got an official divorce from Anne Boleyn. On this day in 1536, the Queen of England stood trial in London on charges of treason, adultery, and incest. She is condemned to death by a specially selected jury. And I'm guessing that tomorrow, on this day in 1536, we will be covering the beheading of Anne Boleyn. On this day in 1817, the opening of the first private mental health hospital in the United States, 1817. Listen to this name. This is why it made it. This is what they called it. And by the way, it's still around. It's called Friends Hospital in Philadelphia. That's what it's called now. But here's what this mental institution was called when it first opened in 1817. It was called the Asylum for the Relief of Persons Deprived of the Use of Their Reason. Asylum for the Relief of Persons Deprived of the Use of Their Reason. Fancy name. Now it's just called Friends Hospital. 1817, the first loony bin opened in America. 1905, on this day, the city of Las Vegas was founded in Nevada. A city in a desert. Boy, they took a gamble on that one. Seems to have paid off. I got no more. I mean, I got plenty more, but I wouldn't bother you with that. In 1940, on this day, Richard and Maurice Dick and Mo McDonald opened the first McDonald's restaurant on this day in 1940. What are we talking about? 15 years later, old Ray Kroc slithered into town, stole the company out from under. Well, the business. It wasn't a company. You know what? I'm tired of that. I've heard both arguments about this, that Ray Kroc stole McDonald's from Dick and Mo McDonald. Did he though? I mean, he made him a fair price for their standalone burger joint, and they were like, okay, that sounds good. They didn't see what Ray Kroc saw. Ray Kroc saw that they had come up with a new way of making hamburgers quickly, the assembly line. That's what Richard and Mo kind of did. And he saw that and he went, man, we could mass produce that all over. And here we are today, McDonald's. Nothing more American than McDonald's. I love McDonald's. I do. I think I've said this before. I think McDonald's gets shit on. I think it does. I think we take McDonald's for granted because it's everywhere and it's been everywhere all the time. And so we go, McDonald's hamburgers suck. The Wendy's hamburgers, but shut up. Shut up with your Wendy's hamburger. The Wendy's hamburger. I've never gotten a Wendy's hamburger that wasn't cold. They're always cold. Stop it. You know what you're going to get with McDonald's? You're going to get what you expect from McDonald's. You're going to get a burger. It's going to taste the way it's always tasted. It's going to be delicious. Stop it. Sizes are a bit small. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. And look, if we're really pushing, if we're talking about what is the best hamburger, I think the Whataburger double cheese with the jalapenos is the best fast food hamburger. But that's almost more of a premium burger. That's, if you want something, like if you're just really hungry, I'm telling you, the dollar menu at McDonald's, they got chicken sandwiches for like $1.17 or something like that. You just want something, you're like, man, I don't want a whole meal. I just want something. I'm hungry. I'm peckish. Just go get peckish, get it like a chicken. Get a chicken sandwich. Just go to the dollar menu and get a chicken sandwich from McDonald's. They're delicious. All right. So congratulations. On this day, Dick and Mo McDonald opened the very first McDonald's out there in California. On this day in 1963, Project Mercury, the launch of the final Mercury mission, Mercury Atlas 9, with astronaut Gordon Cooper. Gordo was on board. He became the first American to spend more than a day in space and the last American to go into space alone. That suggests Gordo got into some stuff during his alone time. They decided, yeah, we can't be sending dudes up there for that length of time alone. Gordo Cooper is cool. Like I always think that, like, if you know how Jerry West is the logo for the NBA? Like, the NBA logo is just the silhouette of a guy sort of dribbling. That's Jerry West, Laker great. If NASA had a symbol like that, it should be Gordo, because Gordo Cooper was like, he was cool. He was just cool. He was, he liked fast cars. He liked ladies. He was like everything that was like rock starry about astronauts. And then he went into space for a whole day, and they said, yeah, we're never going to let a dude go up there alone for a whole day again. Gordo got into some stuff, is what I'm suggesting. Let's see, what else did we have here? Nah, that's it. 1963. That's about it. That's all we'll mention. I mean, other things probably happened, but the damn dog. The dog is killing me. The dog is barking. Dog barks 5 more times. If I hear 5 more barks, I have to go get him. Just something I got to do. Born on this day in 1902, the mayor of Chicago, Richard J. Daley. There was three barks. Richard J. Daley. Happy Richard J. Daley Day in the city of Chicago. Like the last, like, super powerful mayor, big city mayor. He was powerful. He just asked John F. Kennedy. Just asked Lyndon Johnson. Okay, gotta go get the dog. Oh, but I'll tease you with this. Also celebrating a birthday today. We'll get to next. One of the biggest filmmakers in the history of American film. Be right back. Gotta go kill a dog. Come on, get in here. Get in here right now. Get in here. Where are you? Sela. Come on. Come get some. Hey. No, you're done. Get out of here. You're done. Go lay down. I apologize for that interruption. She was focused on the landscapers, and she did not want to give that up. She was like, but they're still out there. I'm like, yeah, I know they're still out there. Go lay down. Get out of here. I got nothing for you. Go lay down. I wanted to show you guys this. So on Sunday night, my son wanted burritos. And I'm like, okay, Sunday, it's my cheat night. Go lay down. Get in bed. Oh, gosh. There's landscapers out there, so she's going to be a pain in the butt. Get out of here. She's looking over my side. So we went to Freebirds. on Greenville. We got burritos at Freebirds. I love Freebirds. Oh, they're so good. Oh my god, their burrito, their big giant burrito. It's like $20, but oh god, it's so good. So we also got we got some chips and salsa. Got the large, me and my kid. Yeah, I figured I didn't want some little dinky cup of cheese, queso, chips and queso. Didn't want to get like a little cup, so I got the large, and it came. It was nice. It was nice. It was fair. It was. I saw it. I was like, okay, that's good. That's good. They're not like gonna slow roast with the cheese. But they gave us chips. You guys ever gotten the large chips and queso from Freebirds? This is madness. Look at this. The chips came in this bag. Okay. This bag was full. This bag was full of chips. Look at the size of this. Look at this. And so I've had these chips now for days. There's still like a goodly amount of chips in here. Get out of here. And I can't eat chips because I'm on a diet. But I have been using the chips as dog treats to lure the dog in when she's being bad. And now she knows that the chips are near me. So she is, get out of here. Get out of here. Go lay down. Oh, she's just going to stare at me. She is, you can't see it because the camera's not on her. But she is just like 2 feet from me, just staring at me with her tongue hanging out going, oh, I'd like some chips, please. You already got some chips. You got some chips for coming inside. Now go. Oh, there she goes. She just sulked away. There she goes. All right, let's get back into the birthdays. Let's see here. We're talking about hamburgers and stuff in the chat room. Let's see here. Kincaid's is good. Is it Byron that's talking about Kincaid's? Yeah, Kincaid's is good. I've had that out in Arlington. Kincaid's is really good. Culver's. I've had one Culver's experience, Leslie. It was underwhelming. I would give them a second chance, but the closest one is 20 miles away. Culver's is fantastic. Culver's is awesome. But you know what? Culver's is a Wisconsin Lake Town hamburger. Like that's where they came from. They're like an old-timey 1950s Wisconsin. You're in Wisconsin. You don't want a barbecue, so you go to the local hamburger stand and you get, that's where they started. And they're a Midwestern hamburger thing now. They've expanded because they're so good. They've expanded. And there is I think that, yeah, they have them now like here, right? Like there are Culver's here all the way in Texas. I wouldn't judge Culver's by, some franchise that's like 1,500 miles away from where you're supposed to have Culver's. Culver's cheese curd burger. Oh, God. Oh, God. It's so good. So good. And they got good custards, too. Yeah, there you go. JBM says it. Culver's frozen custard is amazing. It really is. That's kind of what they were known for. Hamburgers and custards, like back in the 50s and 60s. Culver's is good. No, the butter burger. That's what they call it. The better butter burger. It's like it's buttery. It's good. It's really good. All right, birthdays. Let's see. Let's move in here. What do we got? One of America's most famous filmmakers was born on this day in 1905. Of course, I'm talking about Abraham Zapruder. That's right, Abraham Zapruder, the guy who just happened to be fiddling around with his new camera in Dealey Plaza there on that day in 1963 when JFK rolled through and he captured. Right? I mean, that's talk about being in the right place at the right time. Abraham Zapruder, born on this day in 1905, died in 1970. So he was 65. Okay, that's not too ridiculously young. I was going to say someone probably killed him, but I mean, we'd already seen the camera. We'd already seen the film. What's the deal? Why would you kill him afterwards? It's not like he's going to add anything to it. 1940, born on this day, a true Dallas-Fort Worth icon. And a guy that I've had a drink with, and charming, just a delightfully fun guy. Don Nelson, not Donnie Nelson. Don Nelson, the old man, big old pothead, big old stoner old man. God, he's awesome. Legendary basketball coach, Mavericks icon, Don Nelson, born on this day in 1940. Born on this day in 1952, Chaz Palminteri. Chaz Palminteri, a guy who has a face to play a mafia boss. And that's basically all Chaz Palminteri's ever done. Have you ever seen Chaz Palminteri play anything other than a mafia boss? He's pretty good at it. I like Chaz Palminteri. Born on this day in 1956, Dan Patrick. The good Dan Patrick. There's like one Dan Patrick that everybody likes. And then there's another Dan Patrick that I think is truly awful. He's The good Dan Patrick, the one we all like from ESPN. Dan Patrick, American television anchor and sportscaster, icon of broadcasting, without a doubt, former host of The Big Show on ESPN. He's so great. I love me some Dan Patrick. Also born on this day in 1969, another North Texas icon, actually an NFL icon, but certainly here in Texas, in Dallas, he has Emmitt Smith. Emmitt Smith, born on this day in 1969, American football player and sportscaster. What does Emmitt do? What is what is it? What sportscaster? Well, I've never seen Emmitt Smith. I had a bad run-in with Emmitt Smith once. He was a dick. It was like just such a dick move. We were at Duke's for dodgeball, and he was sitting at a table, and Sybil, who was our producer at the time, wanted to go up and say hello to Emmitt Smith. And she walked up to the table and she said, "Hi, Emmitt. I just wanted to say hello." And she's the producer of a show. He's a local icon. She was just, "I just wanted to say hello. My name is Sybil, blah, blah, blah." And Emmitt Smith was sitting there with like three of his boys. And Emmitt would not make eye contact with her. And he said something, and I wasn't close enough, but I saw him say something to one of his guys, and his guy turned and just went, eh. I mean, that's a dick move. That's a dick move. You know what the proper move is for a decent human being? And I've seen the proper move done by people as big as Emmitt Smith and without the dickiness. The proper move is to do this. "Well, it's really nice to meet you, but I'm sitting here having some dinner. I was wondering if, maybe we could have a little privacy." Something like that. Doesn't take, and you might still, after doing that, you might still get somebody go, "You was a dick." But the person who then says that was a dick move is a dick, because if someone wants to be left alone, that's fine. But be courteous, be kind, understand that you are popular. You made a lot of money, and part of the deal is that you're popular, and that people are going to want to talk to you. And just because someone comes up to you and wants to talk to you, and they're nice to you, and she's nice, Sybil was never mean to anybody. She's such a friendly little bunny. She didn't deserve it. I remember watching that going, "That dude's a dick. That's a dick move. That is like I'm a superstar." Oh, stop it. Stop it with yourself. You run a football for a living, okay? You didn't cure cancer. You're not important. You're just momentarily of interest because you do that well. That's it. So that was there you go. Happy birthday, Emmitt Smith. I hope you're mean to somebody today. Let's see here. Born on this day in 1975, another football running back. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I got this wrong. This is totally wrong. I have my apologies. I thought it was a different Ray who played for the Baltimore. I half read it. Ray Lewis is celebrating a birthday today. Although, I bet you there's some stories about Ray Lewis not being the nicest guy in the world. I know that there's the family of someone dead in Atlanta who probably thinks he's not the nicest guy in the world. But whatever. I don't know. I have no personal run-ins with Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis is celebrating a birthday today, born in 1975. I would say easily one of the three greatest middle linebackers of all time. Again, it's one of those position groups where you could make an argument. Certainly the best middle linebacker of his era. And I say that as a Chicago Bear fan, having had the second best middle linebacker of the era, Brian Urlacher. Ray Lewis was better. Ray Lewis was better. I mean, that's fine. I don't know that Ray Lewis was better than Dick Butkus, but whatever. Okay, if you want to talk about the three greatest linebackers of all time, Ray Lewis is probably 1, 2, or 3, and no matter where you rank him in that order, I'm not going to fight you on it. I'm going to say, okay, that's understandable. Let's see here. People who died. These are the people who died. These are the people who died. Yeah, that's a Jim Carroll song I've been singing now to jump into the people who died segment. Not a whole lot to talk about here. All right. Dead on this day in 2003, American singer, songwriter, guitarist, and actress, the lovely, at least as depicted in the film, the lovely June Carter Cash. June Carter Cash died on this day in 2003, wife of Johnny Cash, portrayed by Reese Witherspoon, right? And Reese Witherspoon play her? Yeah, Reese Witherspoon played her in the movie Walk the Line. She was opposite Joaquin Phoenix. June Carter Cash, seemingly a lovely woman. Put up with a lot of nonsense from Johnny, But, they stayed together. Yeah. Dead on this day in 2003, June Carter Cash. June Carter Cash going to heaven. I think so. I like to look at these names and I make like little notes. I'm like, where do you think she is? She's in heaven or hell? If there is a heaven or hell, I don't know. But if there is a heaven or hell, based on the criteria that I've come to understand these two places, June Carter Cash is probably in heaven. She put up with a lot of stuff. Dead on this day in 2007, Jerry Falwell, American pastor. Troublemaker. He was a very divisive guy. He was mean. He was, he's in hell. He is in hell. There you go. Jerry Falwell, by my understanding of the code of decency and just trying to be kind and loving and, walking and behaving in the way that you would think Jesus probably would have carried himself. Jerry Falwell's in hell. Jerry Falwell caused a lot of pain for a lot of innocent people who, were just kind of people. And that's it. Maybe they were different than him, but Jerry didn't like people who were different than him. So Jerry Falwell, you are probably in hell. Dead on this day in 2020. This is a sad one because this guy was awesome. The great Fred Willard. The great Fred Willard died on this day in 2020. American actor, comedian, and writer. I don't know, all those Chris Guest movies he was in, always funny. Yesterday we talked about losing Charles Grodin, who was like the king of deadpan. Fred Willard was also a king of deadpan, but Fred Willard was a different kind of deadpan. Charles Grodin played his deadpan comedy with a whole lot of rage simmering underneath. Like Charles Grodin's deadpan was a guy who wasn't going to laugh because he was really pissed off about the silliness that was happening around him. And that worked great. Fred Willard was the opposite. Fred Willard was deadpan, but Fred Willard was always smiling. Fred Willard was always happy. He was always on the verge. Like Fred Willard's deadpan was kind of a innocence, kind of ignorant to the absurdity of whatever the comedy was that was going around with like Fred Willard was a comedian who his deadpan, he didn't get the joke, but he wanted to, that was his whole vibe. Like, it was just, he didn't truly understand what was so funny about what was happening. God, Fred Willard was great. I love Fred Willard. What an icon. What a comedy icon. All right, let's move it. Oh, you know what? Here, I wanted to do a new segment just because before we jump into all of the things that are trending today, and that really is the point of this whole show. We used to do a thing with Kelly on the old Pugs and Kelly show, radio show that we used to do for years here in Dallas and Chicago before that. We used to do a thing called Three Things. They were just three random things that were at the top of our minds that didn't really have anything to do with trending topics, hot topics, headlines, whatever the hell is going on in the world. But they were just things that bugged me. So here are my three things, okay? Sports. F sports. I'm so done with, I'm telling you, between baseball and the Mavs game last night. What a depressing night of sports. So F sports. There you go. Also, F the Texas Department of Transportation. Yesterday afternoon, after the show, I had to run out with E, the guy who runs the 1%er compound here that we do the show from. We had to run out to the boat because we had to take a jet ski in. Oh, God, another jet ski issue. I'm telling you, he went out and he bought like two Ferrari jet skis. I mean, they're not literally Ferrari, but they are like if there was a version of a jet ski or a Sea-Doo that was a Ferrari, he went out and bought them. Like they are the fastest jet skis on the lake. They're awesome. They're fun. Don't get me wrong. They are awesome. But like a Ferrari, they're always breaking down. There's always a problem. And so we had to go up to the lake. We had to drag one of the jet skis. Is it the super fast one? Because there's a super fast one. Here's what he got. He got like a Rolls Royce and a Ferrari. Like one jet ski is like a luxury jet ski, which is the one that I usually ride because I love that thing. Oh my God. It's like a boat. It's so cool. Anyway, so there's a luxury jet ski. And then there's like the little water rocket, which is the fastest on Lake Louisville. Yeah, that's right. You want to come at E on the purple poser eater? That's what I call it. I call it the purple poser eater because everybody who thinks they have a fast jet ski pulls up alongside him and is like, you want to drag? And he's like, do you want to lose? And then, it ends with, him losing. Like, goes over 80 miles an hour. Yeah, he's got it. It's crazy. Anyway, on the water. It's insane. He's going to die. I don't like to ride that one. Too much power. I like the luxury one. I like the one that I like to just kind of, be comfortable. And by the way, the luxury one also has all kinds of aftermarket stuff that makes it really fast for like a luxury one, but not as fast as the purple poser eater. So we had to take the purple poser eater out of the water, put it on a trailer, and then drag it all the way from Lake Louisville out to the jet ski mechanic, who is like on a totally different lake. He's out there in Garland. So we got to go from, this is, by the way, at 4:00 in the afternoon. We got to go all the way from Lake Louisville, all the way out to Garland, drop off the purple poser eater, and then drive back into downtown, into Highland Park. It's now about 5:00. So here's my problem with the Texas Department of Transportation. Coming westbound on 635 at 5 p.m., we were looking to get on to 75 South. Those of you familiar with the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you understand this. We want to get on 75 South. We're coming from Garland. We're on 635. We wanted to get on 75 South so that we could head into the city of Dallas. 5:00, rush hour. It was at this point that the Texas Department of Transportation decided that they were going to shut down that ramp and do some road work at 5:00. 5:00, they decided they were going to shut down the ramp leading to 75 South at 635 at 5:00. It was open while we were in traffic, and then we saw all the construction vehicles with the bleep, with the lights, and then they put up the things, road construction. 5:00? Seriously, what are they doing? That is not... Why? Why would you do that at 5:00? You do that at, 3 in the morning when there's nobody on there. They just completely, on purpose, jacked up rush hour for hours. It was, so there you go. So, and you know why? I'm like, what is it? This is an overtime thing? They're like, we don't have it in the budget to pay these people to do it at 3:00 in the morning. So we're just going to have them do it at 4:45 in the... Oh, screw you. You are not serving the people of Texas by doing that. Oh, people were so mad. We're looking around. Everybody's like, what the fuck is that? How are they doing? And there wasn't an accident. It wasn't like, oh, suddenly there was an accident on the, entry ramp to 75 South at 5:00. No, it was just road construction. They just decided that they were going to do something. Insane. All right, that's thing 2. F sports, thing 1. F the Texas Department of Transportation for their ridiculous decision to shut down a major off-ramp from a major highway, 635, to another major highway, 75 South, at 5 p.m. 5 p.m. Height of rush hour. Let's shut it down. It was a conscious choice. So that's number 2. Number 3, this is a little bit personal, and this is something that possibly... let's see, what did Adam say? Adam says, I used to take 75 southbound to go home from work when I lived in Lower Greenville. It was fine until about 2012 or 2013. And all of a sudden, 75 south of 635 was a effing nightmare. It is a freaking nightmare. That is like one of the worst. No, Adam says you should take in Hillcrest. We went past it. We got off on Coit. We took the service road, but so did everybody else. So it was, it was a nightmare. We got off on Coit. Okay, so there we go. So moving on. F Texas Department of Transportation for that incredibly bullshit decision to just screw everybody in rush hour yesterday. This next one I want to talk about because it was shocking to me and it really upsets me, and it has to do with something that I love, and that is the lost art of radio. I used to do radio from 1992 until about, I don't know, I think I finally pulled the plug on it in Chicago. I was working they launched a new sports station in Chicago around 2016, and I was brought on to work at the new sports station, and a week later it went under. A week later, they just changed their mind. In the middle of it, they went, yeah, you know what? Maybe nah, maybe I mean, it was done by WGN Radio. WGN, one of the most important and biggest radio stations in America, decided that they were going to launch a sports station. And then they just decided, nah, never mind. So I'm like, fuck this. Radio is, I can't do this anymore. This is just not in my wheelhouse. Okay. So, I've got an issue with radio. I've got an issue with a lot of the decisions that have been made. I understand. I understand the decisions. Radio has been white knuckling it versus the encroaching inevitability of digital distribution for about 15 years now. And for the first few years of that, uh, terrestrial radio, tuning it in on your car the old timey way, terrestrial radio in the beginning decided that it was a fad. Just keep going. It's a fad. And then over the last 10 years, they have seen their audiences completely vanish. There was a time when I was on radio when we could have had 1 million people cumulative audience. That's 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 big. That's a big cumulative audience going back to 2005, 2004. Now, maybe the biggest show in town has a couple 100,000 maybe. And here's the other thing that's really scary. Listen to the voices. If you listen to any kind of talk radio, which is my preferred lane in radio. If you listen to any kind of talk radio on the radio, listen to the voices. There is not a voice that you will hear that is under the age of 50. And that's being generous. Nobody under 50 listens to radio. I've got a 13-year-old kid who loves music, who loves spoken word entertainment, who loves the talk and all that. But why would he go to radio? He's like, wait a second, let me get this straight. So with radio, you have to wait till a specific time when they decide that you can hear the show that you like. And then every so often, they're just going to stop you from listening to that show and they're going to play a whole bunch of commercials and where you have to wait patiently. And then you come, it's madness. I told him, I go, I used to sit on the phone if I wanted to hear a song on the radio. I used to sit on the phone. I used to call into radio. He's like, what? What do you mean you'd sit on the phone? I go, yeah, you'd call and it would ring and ring and ring and you'd wait for the person and then you'd beg them to play your song. And then maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours later, you would hear that song. And then at some point you realize, well, they were going to play it anyway. This has nothing to do with me. He's like, what? You did that? Kids today can hear any song that they want to hear anytime they want to hear it. Everything is on demand, whether it's YouTube or Spotify or any number of downloads. They can hear. They don't have the entire way that radio did its thing is completely been outclassed by modern technology. So there are no young people listening to radio. So radio has to appeal to older folks who, I don't understand the technology, which is the only people who are still listening to radio. Those are the people who still tune in. And that's why all of talk radio is for old people, angry old men. That's basically all you get with talk radio because you couldn't do a talk radio show that was targeting 25 to 30-year-olds the way the old Pugs and Kelly show was. Couldn't do that because those people are not listening. You want to reach that audience, you have to stream. You want to reach that audience, you have to be on YouTube. You want to reach that audience, you have to do a podcast. That's how the new generation of consumers are, consuming, I suppose. So radio sucks, and I can talk for hours about it. And I know that it's probably boring to people who aren't that interested in it, but it's dying. It is. I give it 5 to 10 years before the remaining advertising. And that's what it's about. It's going to be about the advertisers. Once terrestrial radio ceases to be profitable for local advertisers, it's going to go away. And why would it cease to be profitable for local advertisers? Because when the only people listening are people that local advertisers do not covet, they will stop spending money in that way and they will shift their advertising dollars elsewhere. Local advertisers want 25 to 54. That's the demo that buys things. That's the demos that they are still formulating their tastes and products. That's the demo that can still be won over by the introduction of something new that's being advertised. Once you're outside that demo, once you're over 55 years old, they consider you somebody who's already got your favorites. You already know that you like Chevy over Ford. You already know that you drink Miller Lite over Coors Light. They already know. You've already bought your house. You've already got your insurance guy that you've had for the last 20 years. Those are the only people listening to radio. So what you're hearing is a lot of commercials for Walgreens. Let's see. What do 60-year-old people need? They need prescriptions. They need, but none of the big advertisers used to spend movies. You're not going to hear the big Hollywood movie companies. They're not going to be advertising anymore because 65-year-olds don't go to movies. They certainly don't go to movies that are being made today. 65-year-old isn't going to see the Avengers 12. That's not happening. So that's what is happening with radio. So there are a lot of decisions being made in local radio that are just head scratchers. But economically speaking, I understand it. You can't do it. And that brings us to my third thing today. I'm okay with the idea that I'm not in radio anymore because, I'm self-loathing. And I look at myself in the mirror and I go, yeah, you know what? There's no place for you. Look at you. But here in the Dallas-Fort Worth market, somebody is leaving radio that will completely alter the way that I enjoy the last few years of listening to radio. And I'm talking about Danny Bayless. Now, those of you who know me, you know that even when I was on 105.3, my partner and I, we had a love for the ticket here in town, which was very controversial around the station because people did not like when we talked about something funny that our friends on the Hardline did. And those people were friends. Those people were kind. Those people were wonderful to Kelly and myself. They were the most powerful radio show in town. Actually, the two most powerful radio shows in town were Kid Craddock and the Hardline. And both of those shows were really great to Kelly and I. When we first came to this market, Mike Reiner was so kind to us. Grego is still a friend. Grego was so kind to us. But Danny Bayless, for years and years and years, was, I guess, in title, the executive producer of the Hardline here in town. The Hardline is an afternoon sports show that, don't get it twisted, it's not a sports show. It's on a sports station. Sure, they do some sports, but I came from a station called The Loop that until I started listening to the Ticket and the Hardline, I used to think that The Loop was the greatest guy talk station that the good Lord had ever created. And, it's a very important station in the history of male-dominated talk radio. But the Hardline did stuff. The Ticket in general did stuff that just blew me away. I mean, as somebody who was doing it for a living, I would look at what that station was able to do, able to accomplish both creatively, and popular wise. I mean, they were monsters. Danny Bayless was, as I say, in name, the producer of that show, but he wasn't the producer. He was, I guess that's what they had to call him because, I don't know, they couldn't justify paying a third person or a fourth person. And Danny announced yesterday on the Hardline that he was leaving. Now, I don't know why he's leaving. I haven't reached out to him yet. I may. He announced that he's leaving the Hardline. The talk is because they just made a budget decision and decided that after 20 years, they were still going to only pay him as a producer, even though anybody who listens to that show knows that he is as important a voice on that show as either of the two main hosts, who are incredibly talented people in Corby and Bob, right? So those guys, Corby and Bob, are the leads. And then there's Danny as the third. And he's not a third, though. He's if you listen to that show, he is as important. He's one of the guys that if he's not on the show, you're like, oh, this show's not going to be as fun. Where's Danny today? And quite frankly, he was never not there. He's always there. So he left radio, and it just upset me to no end to hear that Danny Bayless is leaving. And I'm telling you, he's a free agent and he's in the wind. He is not a producer. He should be, should be talking to him. The Eagles should be talking to him. The Eagles should build an entire show around him. Somebody, the fan, which is the competition, they should be building an entire show around him. Now, I'm not saying that he'd do it by himself because his whole thing is that he's a dry wit. He's an acerbic X Factor type that you plug that into any other show and the show just immediately gets better. His level of creativity, his ability to create bits, his ability to make songs, he's a master musician. I mean, aside from being on the Hardline, he is one of the most prominent and well respected local musicians, having played in like big local Dallas bands for years and years. So that just upset me. That's the third thing on three things today. Apparently, from what I've been able to understand, and again, I don't know from him. I haven't spoken to him. I will probably reach out to him at some point and ask him for the real story. But the fact that the ticket and the Hardline is allowing Danny Bayless to walk away because they will not pay him what he is worth is just disgusting. It's just disgusting. You don't let a talent like that, an X Factor talent. Is he a host? Well, he doesn't drive the show. Is he a co-host? Well, he could be, but you don't let him. What is he? Well, he's a producer, so therefore he must make X amount of dollars because he's only a producer. Nah, if he's the producer, then he's the greatest radio producer in the history of radio. And that includes a lot of people who I respect who are radio producers. Gary Delabate for Howard Stern, he's a radio producer. He makes over $1 million a year. You know, they understand his worth to that show. I don't know. Anyway, there you go. Those are three things. I apologize, and I appreciate that you allowed me to go off on this little rant, but it's just so typical of why radio is dying and radio is dead. And the only way to make money in radio these days is to find some kind of a backdoor, some kind of a scam. And that's not to say that there isn't still quality radio in this town. I think Ben and Skin do an incredible show. I think that they do a really good show, and best thoughts to Skin and all the troubles that they're going through. They do a great show. The Hardline is still a great show, although it will be irreversibly altered by the absence of Danny Bayless. All right, let's see here. JBM says Danny is a huge part of the show. It's going to suck without him. Adam said, he said, I believe he's talking about Danny. He said he's tired of being paid a medium pizza price when he's a large. Yeah, he is. Yeah, you're damn right he is. Byron points out that Greg the Hammer Williams had a heart attack yesterday. Yes, he did. Thank you for that. I thank you for making me remember that, because that needs to be mentioned too. Greg the Hammer Williams, who was a long-time part of the Hardline show here in Dallas, left. There's some controversies. He had some demons. He had a heart attack yesterday, and he's recovering. He is tweeting about his heart attack. He's in the hospital. It's thankfully not fatal. One thing that I'd like to say about Greg the Hammer Williams, big freaking sweetheart of a guy. Big sweet. Yes, there are stories about, his demons, but a lot of people go through demons. The problem with people who fight demons are that sometimes they're assholes and sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're just nice guys who fall prey to a lifestyle or a situation in their life that makes them make some very bad decisions that they regret. And I would say that Greg the Hammer Williams is one of the good people in radio. Radio is filled with bad people. Greg Williams is a nice guy. He's a nice man, and keep a good thought for him if you would. Let's see here. Byron says Grego had a heart attack yesterday. Jeff Glenn describes radio as dinosaurs stuck in the tar pit of habit. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Let's see here. Will says radio is dead. It's on the same level as newspapers barely existing. Podcasters are where it's at. I agree with that, Will. But here's my problem with podcasting, and this is why I don't, although we do have a number of podcasts planned, because the Radio Misfits podcast platform is first and foremost podcasts. I love podcasts. I listen to a lot of podcasts. Find a lot of good ones on Radio Misfits. But I appreciate the stream. I appreciate the immediacy of being able to go live, and there really is a difference. Like, that's why I always jump down people's throat. Pod's doing a podcast now. No, I'm not yet. I do a stream. A stream is different than a podcast. A stream is a little bit closer to what live, radio used to be. We're here right now. It is 12:49 p.m. Central Standard Time. Anything can happen, right? I mean, that's kind of what this is all about. Adam says, get rid of Russ Martin, guys. Well, that's that he's, get rid of Russ Martin, guys. They suck. I don't listen to Ben and Skin anymore since Ben is a fake pompous ass, but I still love Skin. Okay. I don't get that from Ben and Skin. I think that but you know what, Adam, you were a big Ben and Skin fan, so that's interesting coming from you. I've only had a couple of run-ins with Ben. I always thought he was like a really nice guy. I always thought that show was incredibly talented. They did some really great creative stuff. Um, I remember when we left 105.3 and the station had made the decision to bring in Ben and Skin. I remember I called Ben and I didn't know him. I just called him. I thought it was the right thing to do. I called him and I said, "Hey, look, man, we're going to a different station in town, and I just want you to know." Because I always I said, "Look, I want you to know that we're rooting for you. We hope that you maintain the audience. We hope that you treat them well. They're good people." I did that whole thing. That audience. Some of them are gonna leave. Don't put up with any nonsense. If people call in and go, you suck, whatever. He was very kind. He was very generous. We had a very nice conversation, and honestly, I couldn't be happier for them for what they did with the time spot. They took it, they built on it, they took it to places that Kelly and I didn't take it, and now they're still continuing to have success. So. And yeah, and Skin's got some health issues that he's battling, and I'm thinking that we all keep him in our best thoughts as well. It goes without saying, but I have never had the experience that Adam says about Ben. But again, I've only had very limited run-ins with them, and all I know is just what I listen to, and I just think they are so pro. I think they are great. Jeff says, "You're interactive, Pugs. That's why you're special." Yeah, but we were interactive doing terrestrial radio as well. We took a lot of calls. We let Jeff. How do you think I know you? Because we were interactive. Will says, "You do more of a radio show type podcast. At least that's my take on it." Yeah, that's the attempt, Will. Thank you for noticing. That's what we're trying to do. All right, let's move into what's trending today because we've spent way too much time on these other things. Okay, wait, Adam, we'll finish the conversation with Adam. Adam says, and I assume this is regarding Ben. Adam, he's nice, but he's fake nice. He's so disingenuous. I was good friends with both of them, so I saw through the veneer. Yeah, I mean, I don't. It works. It works for me. I don't know. I'm sorry you've had that experience. I think they do a good show, and I am not one to find a lot of shows that are currently in production on terrestrial radio that I think are good shows. I'm just Hardline is a good show. Hardline is a very good show. Ben and Skin are a good show. The Musers on the ticket, the morning show. That's a good show. That's a really good show. What else in the market do I enjoy? I enjoy Gavin Dawson. I think that Gavin is a fun personality. Who else do I like in town? Who else? So that the new show, I guess, on the ticket, the Hang Zone. I don't get to listen to it all that much, but when I have, I've enjoyed it. I think that Jake, is that his name? The kid that's on the Hang Zone with Dan McDowell. I think that Jake is a real talent. I think that dude is a real talent. He's good. I should listen more, but I don't. Yeah, so there you go. That's it. That's my take on local radio. Everything else is garbage. Everything else, that's not fair to say. There is nothing else here in the local market that I've listened to that has caught my attention. But of those are the shows that I basically listen to most. And they're good. So there is still good content. I just feel, I was going to say I feel bad for. I don't feel bad for them. They've got a job to do, and they're still doing their jobs, and they're doing it well, at least in the instances that I just cited. I just don't know how. When I started in radio, I thought I could do this for the next 50 years. If I grow my audience, if the audience grows with me, if we keep on maturing and getting older, we can start out in 1992 doing fart jokes. And then maybe if I play this right, by the time I'm 62 and getting ready to retire, they will have grown. That I don't see that as an option anymore. I mean, if you're in radio right now and you're under 35, 40 years old and you're not looking at digital as the next step, if you're not already coming up with a plan for your exit of terrestrial radio, then I think you're going to end up possibly like me. Like you're going to end up, with, a lot of missed opportunities that you didn't recognize. All right, let's talk about what is trending. Adam says, what are your favorite? Dan O'Malley, Dan O'Malley is selling houses. No, man, Dan is, I don't listen to that show just because of Hardline. I mean, honestly, I'm a Hardline devotee for 20 something years, but Dan O'Malley's hosting. Dan O'Malley sort of inherited Russ Martin's show. So I understand they're doing all right. April says, if I listen to radio, it's only Sirius now. Rest in peace, local. I don't listen to shows I miss. I prefer the live aspect of the show. Me too, Adam. That's really what I love. I love listening to stuff live. There's a without a, even though that there is a delay, and we all know intellectually that there's a delay, there is still an anything can happen sort of enticement to listening to live talk radio. Adam says, what are your favorite XM channels, April? What are your favorite channels? She's talking about Sirius XM. All right, I don't care. I'm not a big fan of XM or Sirius. I think Spotify is better. I think if I want to, but again, XM, I just said I like live. There is a degree of live with satellite radio. I'm just not really, never really got caught up in I almost worked for satellite radio a couple of times, but as a consumer, I've never really. I had Sirius XM, for a period of time, but I never listened to it. I was like, bleh. All right, let's get into what's trending. Dow Jones is trending again. Let's see where we're at. We were at 600 below today. That was a couple hours ago. Then we were at 135, so it appeared to be rallying to some degree. Let's see where we are now. Here we go. Where is the Dow? Oh, we're all the way. We're just down 88. We're down 88. We were down up over 500 earlier today. Yesterday, I think they closed down 1,000. So, okay. So, not in the positive. It's still going to be probably a negative day here, but at least it's not like a complete bloodletting of the Dow. It's negative 88. Dow is trending. That is something people are talking about. Let's see here. What else is coronavirus is trending? Jesus. Health officials are sounding a warning that coronavirus is back in a big way. State of New York and the state of California are both weighing options to reinstate some of the COVID mandates of the previous 2 years. All 50 states are seeing rising cases, except Florida. Florida's the only one where we haven't had a new case in Florida in months. Well, that's because the governor in Florida has disbanded the group that was in charge of reporting the COVID cases and made it illegal to report COVID cases in Florida. So, the ostrich effect. You just bury your head in the sand and you're the only state without rising cases. So I don't know. Memorial Day weekend is coming up, and we're being reminded that we're not through this. People who are vaxxed, they're at less risk. People who are not vaxxed, it's the same old thing. If you have health issues, if you are overweight, if you're over a certain age and it hits you, it's going to hit you hard. So there you go. That's enough of that. White settlement is trending. White settlement. Yeah, look at that right here in the North Texas area. White settlement is trending. There was an incident this morning at the Lockheed Martin defense. Lockheed Martin does defense contracting for the United States. Lockheed Martin gate closed after fatal shooting. Suspicious device found in car. Okay, so here's what happened. The main gate outside Lockheed Martin's aeronautics plant in White Settlement is closed Thursday after a man fatally shot himself after apparently trying to access the facility. This according to White Settlement police. A man arrived at the facility's main gate near Clifford Street and Spur 341, Lockheed Boulevard, shortly after 5:30 a.m. At some point during the man's interaction with security, police said he made concerning statements before pulling out a shotgun and fatally shooting himself. No other people were injured during the shooting, police said. White Settlement Chief of Police Christopher Cook said his department was called to the gate and worked with several other agencies to respond to the incident. Anytime you have a shooting in progress at a defense contractor or in and around the Naval Air Station, we're going to have a surge response, which is what's happening this morning, Cook said. The man made unspecific concerning statements to Lockheed Martin Security while looking for a federal law enforcement agency that may be located on the grounds or nearby. So he went to the gate. He was looking for a federal law enforcement agency, probably FBI, DEA, I don't know, CIA. They don't really report those. So he was looking for, let's just say the FBI. He was looking for a federal law enforcement agency, ATF, maybe. I don't know. He was looking for one of those, and he made some statements. And the security guard was like, "Nah, man, we ain't got nothing like that around here." I don't know. I probably said it. And then the guy blew his head off. Because of the man's statements to security, bomb techs from the Fort Worth Police Department were called in to get a closer look at a briefcase in the man's vehicle. Shortly after 10 a.m., police said that there were no explosive devices found there. Once the scene is secured, the man's remains will be turned over to the Tarrant County Medical Examiner's Office for identification. Cook said they have a preliminary ID on the man and that agents and officers visited people known to the person Thursday morning and determined there were no other threats to the white settlement community. Every location we've checked, we've found no additional threats. We don't believe there are any ongoing threats. Okay, good. That's fine. We get that. But, even if you did discover further threats, they can't do anything about it. It seems like every time somebody goes on some crazy shooting spree, somebody pops up and goes, "Oh yeah, we knew about that guy. Yeah, we didn't do nothing about him. We knew about him. Oh, he was on our radar. Oh yeah." So what are you gonna do? White settlement, though. White settlement is like my favorite suburb, exurbia part of the North Texas area because people always get so mad. They're always, white settlement, that's a racist town. Well, maybe in like 1860 it was. I don't know. It is a predominantly white area. I think 85% white people live in white settlement. If memory serves, and you people might know this better than me, if memory serves, it's not white settlement because it's like only white people live here. It's white settlement because when it was founded, it was the only safe place for white people in Indian territory. Like all of the other surrounding areas were all like Indians, like Native Americans. Shouldn't say Indians anymore. Okay. Was all Native Americans. And it was called white settlement so that on maps, people who were, engaging in Western expansion would know that they could come here and it wasn't hostile Indian territory. It's not about like, no blacks allowed, although there might be some of that, it may have. And then didn't a couple of years ago they say like let's change the name from white settlement because everybody thinks that that's just some sort of like racist thing against black Americans and it's causing business to not want to move into white settlement. Like business like McDonald's doesn't want to go to white settlement, right? They don't want to have a white settlement place. So I want to say that they held a vote, like a referendum in the town, and there's probably only like 3,000 people in the town. And if I remember, the referendum to change the name of white settlement failed like hugely. Like if there was like 3,000 people in the town, like 2,990 of them were like, we ain't changing the name. And like only 10 people were like, I think we should change the name. So I don't know. But there you go. That's why white settlement is trending. White settlement. They needed it to appear on maps so that those engaging in Western expansion of the United States would know that this was white people safe. It wasn't Indian. It was in Indian territory, but it was white people safe. Al says, yeah, there was a push to change the name. Byron says the town was named for its founder, John R. White. Okay, so now we've got conflict. We did a lot of research on this, and I don't know that that's true, but let's see. All right, let's pull up White Settlement. Let's see what the official White Settlement, Texas. There we go. All right. Let's just start out with the Wikipedia. White Settlement is a city in Tarrant County, Texas, United States, a northwestern suburb of Fort Worth. Population was 17,000 in 2019. Okay. History. The city got its name because it was the lone settlement of white settlers amid several Native American villages in Fort Worth. That's what I had learned. Okay. Oh, he's trolling me. You son of a bitch. Because that's reasonable. That is totally reasonable that it would be named after its founder, a guy named White. Okay. So yeah. All right. So yeah, this is what I think we learned years ago when we looked into this, that it was about enticing settlers from the east. If they were making their way to California or they're making their way wherever they were, they could stop, they could look on a map and they would see White Settlement. And that meant that it was safe for white people to settle for the night. Although it was in Indian territory, if you could make it to White Settlement, they could protect you there. Just outside Fort Worth. It would make sense. Fort Worth, which is, was a military fort. All right, there you go. Jeez. Will, you got me. Will's always getting me. Hey, George W. Bush is trending. This is fun. This is George W. Bush is trending. He's been trending since mid-evening yesterday. He made a speech last night at his presidential library, which is literally like 3 blocks from here. It's like right up the street. So it's rare that, a global trend, and this is trending globally. It's rare that a global trend is created just mere blocks from where we do this stream. But okay, so George W. Bush is trending. And here's why. I'll show you why. Hold on. First of all, he looks so old. He's getting so old, man. All right, let me preface this with this. Okay. I've always had a very conflicted relationship with George W. Bush because although I had a problem with the expansion into Iraq, had a real problem with that. Was all for Afghanistan. Afghanistan is where the terrorists were trained who blew up our buildings. We needed to thump Afghanistan. Had a real problem with the war in Iraq. Had such a problem with the war in Iraq that my partner Kelly and I, sometimes sales would come to us with like really sketchy like things that we didn't feel morally comfortable doing, and we turned down a number of advertisers, people that we were like, yeah, we don't want to tell our audience that's not cool. Well, it was during the war in Iraq when the United States Army started to spend money on radio to try and entice people to join the army for the ramp up for the Iraq invasion. And I remember I'm very proud of this. Kelly and I were like, yeah, no, we're not really. We don't know that this is necessarily a good thing. So I had an issue with the weapons of mass destruction ruse, which now 20 years later, we all know was made up. I mean, there were a whole bunch of stories and books, and people who were there at the time are like, yeah, we got that one way wrong. They didn't have what we said they had. They went in front of the UN. So I had like issues with W for like that kind of thing. And also, for the time, I always felt George W. Bush seemed like a good dude. Like he seemed okay, right? So how do you separate, what he did globally and all the bodies that came home in bags and all the dead people? And then I went on to work for a number of military family charities, which is something that I really appreciate having the opportunity to do. Because when you can get up in the morning and you can do something for a living that you feel is worthy and it's doing good things for people that need help, and then you go to bed at night and you think, you know what? I might have done something today that made just one person a little bit easier. So I really appreciated being able to work with all of these military families and raise money for them and do all kinds of things. But I was against the war. But you could be for the. I think that's proof positive that you can be for the United States military and be against a political decision. So I always had this very complicated relationship with George W. Bush. I really kind of like him. Like, I like him. He seems like a good guy. He seems like a good man. He seems like if he wasn't president of the United States and if he wasn't, in this grist mill of having to make these kinds of decisions, that he just seemed like a good dude. He'd be a good neighbor. He seems like a fun guy. Like, you walk and you bump into him at the hardware store, you can have a conversation with him. So, I call him one of the good Republicans, because it's probably people like him and his attitude and the way. Remember his whole thing was compassionate conservatism, and then it went to fuck you conservatism. I always thought, all right, I could get behind the idea of compassionate conservatism, and I think that only stems from somebody who does have some semblance of a moral code. And I think he did. Now, that is, again, in direct conflict with some of the decisions that I felt that were made back in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, regarding our expansionism, regarding, us deciding to go into Iraq. But whatever. So, George, now that I've outlined my very complicated feelings about George W. Bush, I like him. I mean, I don't know. I think he's a neighbor. He lives just a couple of miles away. You see him sometime. I've never seen him, but people report all the time seeing, hey, yeah, man, I was down at the taco joint and George W. Bush walked in. It's like, that's kind of interesting. I had a very nice run-in with one of his daughters once, a couple of years ago. It was on Easter Sunday. I love this. This is a great story. This was Babs, by the way, not Jenna, but Babs, Barbara Bush, the daughter with the dark hair. My kid and I were at this park right up the street here, because before I lived here squatting in the 1%er compound, I lived here in University Park, and we used to go to this little park. It's a beautiful park, actually. It's a rich people park, and that's why we'd go there. So we would go to this park when my kid was like 4 years old, 3 years old, 2 years old, like that. And we'd play on the little jungle gyms and all that kind of stuff. We were there early on Easter morning. It's probably Easter morning 2012, maybe. I don't know, Easter morning, maybe even before that. Easter morning, probably 2012. And we're the only people in the park. It's like 9 o'clock in the morning, and my kid is on the swing, but still the little baby swing, where you got to he's on the swing, and I'm sitting on a bench, and I see this BMW pull up, this convertible BMW with this girl in the car, and her ponytail is flopping. And then there were like a couple of SUVs that pulled in behind her. And all of these people got out, and I'm like, damn, the park's about to get crowded. It was Babs Bush. It was President Bush's daughter. And she comes walking over to where my kid and I were. We were right at the base of the track, and she's wearing her running clothes, and she starts stretching out and all that kind of stuff. And at this point, I realize who she is. I'm like, okay, this is the president's daughter. And so she walks up and she engages me first. She says, "Happy Easter." And I said, "Oh, happy Easter to you." And she looked at my kid on the swing and she said, "Is that your kid? Is that yours?" And I go, "Yeah." "Oh, no, actually, I remember she said, 'Is that yours?' And I said, 'No, I just found him here.'" Ha! Which got a laugh from her. And so at that point, I was like, oh, because I'm like, this is a president's daughter. I go get my kid. So I went over, I pulled him out, and I said, "Mason, I want you to meet Barbara Bush." And she goes, "Oh, hi, Mason, blah, blah, blah." And she stretched out. She was so sweet to my kid. And then she just ran off. She's like, "Happy Easter, have a good day." So, it's like the Bush family. They seem like good people. She wasn't a bitch. She didn't ignore the only other person. She engaged with a little kid. She said Happy Easter to me it was just raised like good people. Honestly, I don't know that I'd have had that same experience with Ivana Trump or Ivanka or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't think they would be as warm and as friendly. So why is Bush trending? Here's why he's trending. All right. So he made a speech yesterday where he was talking about Putin. What a bad guy Putin is for going into a country that didn't do nothing and just starting a war. And he said this.
In contrast, Russian elections are rigged. Political opponents are imprisoned or otherwise eliminated from participating in the electoral process. The result is an absence of checks and balances in Russia and the decision of one man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of Iraq. I mean, of Ukraine. Iraq. Anyway.
Okay, did you catch that? Because he's the guy that many people say launched a wholly unjustified invasion against Iraq. And he's trying to slam Putin by saying Putin shouldn't have done that in the Ukraine. But, I mean, the way he laughs it off, he's getting a lot of criticism. Oh, laugh in the face of the dead people. Oh, just, okay. Okay. I mean, I get that. But,
and brutal invasion of Iraq. I mean, of Ukraine. Iraq. Anyway. 75.
All right.
What
did he say? What's
wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of Iraq. I mean, of Ukraine. Iraq. Anyway.
Iraq 2. Wow. I hadn't caught that. That I hadn't caught. Let me see that again.
And brutal invasion of Iraq. I mean, of Ukraine. Iraq. Anyway. 75.
I'm 75. Okay, he's saying I'm 75. Wow. Okay. So I kind of maybe need to process that part of it. Okay, processing that on the fly. So he misspeaks, and he basically says that it was a totally unjustified invasion of Iraq, catches himself, realizes that's been a major criticism of him, corrects it to Ukraine, and then under his breath says Iraq 2, seemingly admitting that he understands. Oh, man. Okay, that's interesting. That is, April, that is yikes. That is yikes. Yeah, Leslie W seems charming to me now, and I have to remind myself why I didn't like him. I feel like that too. I feel like, but see, I always liked him though. I did. I always, when the whole Gore and Bush thing went down in the hanging chads, I remember being like, honestly, I'm okay with this. I wasn't outraged. I know a lot of liberals and Democrats and all that. They stole the election. Yeah, maybe, I don't know, whatever. Who knows? Who cares? But I remember thinking just existentially that I could be fine. I could be fine with the guy who was pushing a brand of conservatism that he called compassionate conservative. I remember thinking, okay, now he's a religious guy. I wasn't particularly religious. I was a little bit concerned about maybe some of his, but whatever. We've had religious presidents before. Jimmy Carter is extremely religious, So I wasn't all of that concerned about that aspect of it. And I was a big fan. I was a very big fan of his after 9/11. I thought that George Bush was fantastic in the way he rallied the country, the way he refused to sort of engage in these sort of left versus right issues. Now, they were nothing the way they are today. I mean, republicanism and leftism to some degree. To some degree, I'm sorry. I just think that most of the divisiveness has come from people like Tucker Carlson, and they're supporting one side over the other. But let's not get into that. I think we're at a very ugly place now. And I long for what I thought was the ugly place that we were in 2004. So I do not have any real hatred for I don't have any real hatred for George W. Bush. As a matter of fact, I've got some warmth. I kind of like that guy. All right, let's move on. Here's a guy that I've got some real hatred for. I don't like this guy at all. Nick Saban is trending. Nick Saban, the head coach of the University of Alabama, ball coach out there in Alabama. He is trending, and he again, just like George W., has been trending since. Well, since mid-evening yesterday, Alabama football coach Nick Saban says Texas A&M bought every player and questions whether the current model is sustainable. Now, what Nick Saban is talking about here down there in Alabama, and by the way, I said this when the new rules about college football were first starting to happen at the start of the college football season that we just came through, where players are now allowed to get endorsement money for playing at different college. The local car dealer wants to pay a guy $1,000 a month, and he's like the linebacker for him to do local commercial. That's fine. That's fine now, but it's moved into a much bigger area. And I said at the time, I said, and this new rule where you can pay players for advertising opportunities, and it coinciding with the advent of what's known as the transfer portal era, is going to shift the power of college football. College football power schools that are currently schools like Alabama, which exist in college towns, are not going to be able to compete with colleges that are in major metropolitan areas with huge advertiser bases and broadcast area. They're just not going to be able to. I mean, I would imagine looking at the way colleges are now going to be able to pay players through advertisements, how can Alabama compete with USC or UCLA? That is the Los Angeles metropolitan area. There is no way that a local car dealer or a hamburger stand in Alabama is going to be able to compete with the film industry. So, now you got the transfer portal. So you got a guy who's like, the number one 5-star recruit going to Georgia Tech. Suddenly he's transferring to Rutgers because, Rutgers is in the New York City metropolitan. I'm just saying, I think that we're going to start to see this over the next couple of years. Deion Sanders was name checked by Nick Saban because Neon Deion is the head coach at Jackson State, which is a small, historically black university. They're not real competitive, but apparently Deion Sanders was able to lure some super high-end player away from Florida State because Neon Deion apparently brought some advertising opportunities for this kid. So the game is changing. The game is changing, and the small, sleepy college town that comes alive on Saturday because their team is a superpower, that's not going to be around much longer. There is just no way. And, big major metropolitan areas that to this point had only had small-timey colleges, they're going to start to grow. You're going to start to see Cincinnati is a good example of one. Cincinnati has a big metropolitan area. Now, I don't know that they took advantage of it to get so good last year, but Cincinnati was never good, but Cincinnati is a college. It's in a major city. So, we could see, let's watch the continued growth there. Miami is another one. The University of Miami is right there in the Miami metropolitan area. Millions and millions of people. The advertising dollars are insane. How is Georgia in Athens going to compete with that? I mean, maybe they tap into the Atlanta market. Maybe they do. But what I'm saying, Nebraska, how is Lincoln, Nebraska? How is Nebraska ever going to come back? How is Arkansas ever going to come? I'm just saying, I think that there are some real issues that are building. And Nick Saban basically came out yesterday and gave a speech where he talked about these very same concerns. Now, he's a guy who happens to have a football team that is in a very small metropolitan area that simply cannot compete with other large metropolitan areas that also have football teams that maybe are completely forgettable right now. So that's his concern. Alabama coach Nick Saban singled out Texas A&M for buying its top-ranked signing class and threw a spotlight on the unintended effect of name, image, and likeness rights. That's NIL. That's what they're calling these new NIL rules. Name, image, and likeness rights on recruiting during an event with local business leaders Wednesday night in Birmingham. Saban said, we were second in recruiting last year. Saban told the audience. A&M was first. A&M bought every player on their team, made a deal for name, image, and likeness. We didn't buy one player, all right, but I don't know if we're going to be able to sustain that in the future because more and more people are doing it. It's going to become more difficult to compete. Saban said Alabama players made $3 million doing it the right way, he says last year, and that only 25 players were able to leverage name, image, and likeness opportunities. He isn't the first coach to call out the Aggies by name. In February, Ole Miss coach Lane Kiffin quipped, Texas A&M was going to incur a luxury tax in how much they paid for their signing class. That prompted a stern response. Oh, Jimbo Fisher getting involved. Texas A&M's Jimbo. Let's see, that prompted a stern response from Texas A&M coach Jimbo Fisher, a former Saban assistant, during his signing day news conference the following day, when Jimbo Fisher said that coaches spreading rumors about deals promised to recruits were, quote, clown acts and irresponsible as hell. The problem with NIL, Saban said Wednesday, is coaches trying to create an advantage for themselves. Saban said coaches know how much money is available from their school's collective, which is a group of program supporters who pool their resources to offer deals to athletes, and how much he can promise every player. Saban says, quoting, now that's not what it was supposed to be, he said. That's what it's become, but not what it was intended. And that's the problem in college athletics right now. Now every player is saying, well, what am I going to get at this school versus what I could get at this school? Last summer, the Supreme Court upheld a lower court ruling that said limiting education. Okay, now it goes into all of that stuff. Is there anything here about Dion? I thought I saw something up. Oh, here we go. Hell, read about it in the paper, Saban said. I mean, Jackson State paid a guy $1 million last year. That was a really good Division I player to come to that school. It was in the paper, and they bragged about it. Nobody did anything about that. I mean, these guys at Miami that are going to play basketball there for $400,000 a season, it's in the newspaper. The guy tells you how he's doing it. All right, so Saban's getting upset because maybe he doesn't want to leave Alabama for UCLA. But, if he wants to keep racking up titles, it is a very real concern for traditional college powerhouses that do not exist in major metropolitan areas. How are they going to be able to compete with, the signing of players when the best thing that you got is, Dothan, Alabama's #1 Chevy dealer versus the guy who runs Paramount Pictures? Right? I mean, there's more money to be made for a player playing in a medium market where the advertising dollars are higher. What's it cost for a commercial on the campus of the University of Alabama versus what does it cost for a commercial on the campus of UCLA, right? We're talking about two completely different media markets. So, I don't know. Let's see here. Oh, here's one. This is one that's been trending for the last couple of days. I wanted to play this. Did you hear about why Capel School District is trending? This is troubling. I hate this stuff. There's a bullying incident in Capel, and it's quite disgusting. It is. I mean, look, I'm not a shrieking violent. I'm not a shrieking violet or a violent violet. I was kidding. I come from the 80s, as I tell my son all the time. You can't shock me with anything. I come from the 1980s. I have seen it all. I have seen the worst that humanity has to offer, Ryan White. And, I haven't seen a whole lot of good, unless you count the Clash. But you can't shock me. I come from the 80s. All right. Bullying was a thing. Bullying was encouraged. My God, bullying it's good for him. It'll toughen the nerd up. The 80s, where basically the Revenge of the Nerd movies were big. So this happened in Capel. Let's take a look at this. This is why Capel is trending. So there was an Indian kid. I guess people are like, it's a racial. I mean, there are a lot of brown skinned people who have jumped on this as it being a racial thing. I don't know. I would agree with that if we learn that the reason this kid is being bullied is because of his Indian heritage. But as a white kid, I get bullied. People get bullied. I don't know that. So, and the bullier in this is from his family is from like Argentina or something like that. Brazil. I think it's Brazil, which is a big problem because the kid is a wrestler and the bully is a wrestler and the bully knows Brazilian jiu-jitsu and he puts this Indian kid in a hold. And anyway, we're going to show you the video, and then I'm going to tell you what the school did, and then we're going to talk about why Capella is trending after what the school did. Okay, so here you have it. We'll just let the video play out. This is a kid being bullied in the lunchroom. The bully walks up to the kid and demands that he move, doesn't want him sitting there. You can't sit here. And God bless this little kid. This kid is like, I ain't moving. I'm not going to let you bully me. All right, so let's watch it. So there you go. You see it. This is these are 13 and 14-year-olds.
Get the fuck out. No. Get the fuck out.
No. Hold on. I get the angle right. Get that second angle. Hold on. I'm not getting off. Get that to the 4K. Literally nobody's sitting here. 4K Ultra HD. Get that shit. Yay.
Right down. Oh.
Oh, there we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
All right, so there you go. That's the video that's been going around. I was 13. I have a 13-year-old. My 13-year-old has been raised to be a bit of a bully buster, and he sort of takes pride in that aspect of him. Look, I know. Oh, really? Your kid's terrific? No, my kid's a hothead. My kid got kicked out of a football game because he was getting held, and he decided to rectify the situation by, after the play, tackling the guy that was holding him while he was walking back to the huddle. So the offensive lineman is holding my kid, who's a linebacker, and they blow the whistle. The play is dead, and I'm watching my kid, and he's like screaming. I see him screaming, and then the guy that was holding him turns and starts to walk back to the huddle, and my kid tackles him from behind, rips off his helmet, rips off the kid's helmet, like the kid that he tackled, rips off his helmet, and then just starts throwing on him, and he gets dragged off, and trust me, it affected the rest of his season. We had a long talk about it. It was in the heat of the moment. It wasn't a bullying situation. The kid that he tackled was much larger than him. It was a big, giant offensive lineman. And my kid, who was also large, but he was playing linebacker at the time. And yeah, so we had to talk about it. You can't lose your cool like that on the field, blah, blah, blah. There was another instance with my kid when he was being bullied, and he has been raised to stand up for himself. He knows how to fight. My kid has, learned. One of the first things he learned, he's an only child. I was an only child. You got to learn to defend yourself because you don't have any big brothers. You don't have any sisters. There's nobody that is going to genetically be rallying to your defense when you're an only child. And, my son has a stepfather who is a fighter, a trained fighter. So, my son knows how to defend himself. My son knows jujitsu. My son knows boxing. My son knows all of this stuff. So when my son was in third grade. Yeah, third grade, he was riding the school bus and he was being bullied. He was being bullied by a kid who was in the 5th grade, 2 grades older. And the kid every day, for some reason, decided that my kid was the mark. And every day my kid would get in a confrontation with this other kid. And for some reason, the school bus driver, even though one kid was like in 3rd grade, the other kid was in 5th grade, one kid was obviously the bully, they put my kid in the front of the bus, the first seat. My kid had to ride in the front of the bus. They didn't embarrass the bully by making the bully ride in the front of the bus. They made my kid ride in the front of the bus. So this goes on for the better part of a year. And then at one point, the bully decides that now he's going to sit right behind my kid in the front of the bus. And he's going to do the same thing that he was doing, which is basically poking him in the back of the head and calling him a baby and all this kind of stuff. And this led to my kid, my kid, and I'm so proud of him for this. I don't want him to be bullied. My kid is getting poked in the back of the head. The other guy's going, you're a baby, ha, little baby. And my kid stood up and knocked this kid out. Just stood up, turned, popped him in the face, and then reportedly, and this is really brave for a 3rd grader to do this to a 5th grader. I don't know if you can remember back then, but My kid went all in, and I was like, good for you. You defended yourself. What I thought was really funny was that apparently his rage, the rage that I described on the football field, then came out, and he stood over the fifth grader and started screaming like a madman, who's the baby now? Who's the baby now? Which, okay, I thought as a father, I was like, okay, I get it. And I got him kicked off the bus for the rest of the year. So anyway, and now my kid tells me all the time about bullies, about, there's this kid, he's a bully, he's getting, well, you can't just start a fight with him. I go, but I do want you to be an Avenger. My kid loves Spider-Man. He loves all of that stuff. He has a very good sort of moral compass. He's a dick. Don't get me wrong. I mean, like all 13-year-old little boys are dicks. He's like selfish and, he doesn't take losing well and all of that kind of stuff. But man, the video that we just saw of that kid, just so sad, so unbelievably. That kid, the kid who put the other kid in the headlock and did that, he made a choice to be a bad guy. That is, again, from the standpoint of my 13-year-old son, we make fun of all you want about the Avenger movies and all of that, but they have, for a generation of kids, at least drawn the line between good and evil. They have the Avenger movies that all of our kids in that age that they watch. There is an obvious difference between being a good guy and being a bad guy. And I suppose in some semblance of the entertainment world that has always existed, but it is certainly as front and center as it has ever been. So kids now can ask themselves before these things happen up, am I being an Avenger, or am I being one of the guys that the Avengers would come get? In this video that we just saw, that dude who put the kid in the headlock, he was not an Avenger. He was one of the bad guys. And, hopefully more and more kids actually look at it, and that's how my kid looks at it. And I'm actually really proud of him for it. Now, we just saw that. We just watched that video. The kid that was put in the headlock, the Indian kid, was given, was assigned blame for the fight by the school. He was blamed for the fight. The kid that was put in the headlock and rendered unconscious briefly, and given 3 days of in-school suspension. So the victim, as we saw in that video, was blamed for the fight. It was his fault. And the aggressor, who put him in that very dangerous chokehold and then put him down, was labeled the victim by the school and only given 1 day of in-school suspension, because they have a policy where even if you fight, even if you're the victim, you still get something. So now what the school did not realize was that the kid who got choked out, a lot of his friends were videotaping it. A lot of his friends got all of that, and they were able to prove to the parents of the victim and to all of the other people, at the school, hey, you said that the kid who put him in the headlock was the victim. When this video proves without a doubt, Capel School Board, that you got it wrong. The Capel School Board has refused to change their position on this. I mean, as of early this morning, it may have changed now because it's a very fluid story happening here in the North Texas area. And it turns out that the kid who put the other kid in the headlock, the obvious aggressor from the video that we just saw, his dad is like an important guy in the area. He was on the school board, ran for the school board, was some big thing, has all kinds of connections, and yeah. So, but the little Indian kid, who in the eyes of the school principal and the people who judged that, he doesn't really have anybody. So there you have it. So that's what's happening. Let's see, where is the story? Mom says her son received harsher punishment than bully. Again, there is an aspect of this that is saying, this is what brown skinned kids go through, and I don't know. I don't think we need to get into that. I think it's more just a situation of a dick and a kid that was victimized by a dick, and the school got it wrong. The school seems to be blaming the victim. A middle school student from Capel, Texas, was filmed being placed in a chokehold by another classmate in the cafeteria. The child's parents are seeking justice for their son by urging supporters to sign their petition to protect the victim. The child's mother shared the video of her son being choked by a bully, calling out her son's school. The kid's mom, the victim's mom, says, "I cannot comprehend that my son, who is being choked and bullied, is the one who gets 3 days of in-school suspension," she said. The school authorities refuse to take the matter with a sense of urgency and have not handled the situation well at all. By the way, the school, after the initial run of this went viral, the school said, "Yeah, we're not changing our mind. Yeah, what are you going to do about it?" That's basically the attitude of the school. So they started a petition. The petition needed 30,000 signatures. They're now up over 300,000 signatures. They needed 30. They're up over 300,000. We live in an era where you cannot be obstinate like that if you're a school administrator and the facts are saying that you got it wrong. You got to immediately go, "We got it wrong," and you better come up with a good excuse as to why you got it wrong, because this is your career you're fucking with. She mentions the middle school by name, Capel Middle School North, and later reveals that the aggressor merely received a 1-day suspension. Sean's friends, Sean is the name of the kid who was choked out. Sean's friends shared the video of the assault with parents and reached out to inform them that Sean was not at fault. After giving the video evidence over to the school and asking for them to reassess the punishments, however, the school replied by saying that they had seen the video and they weren't going to change their course of action. After several attempts to file complaints, both with the Capel Police Department and Capel School District's resource officer, the parents were refused on the grounds that there had been too many bullying complaints recently. I'll tell you, we can't take your bullying complaint because there are so many bullying complaints. Somebody's going to get fired. Somebody's got to get fired. That's the reason. We can't reassess the initial decision that we made here because we're just so backlogged with bullying. Then you're doing a shit job of handling bullies in your school. Capel Middle School North is now receiving backlash from outraged parents nationwide. Other videos of the moment leading up to the incident have been shared to raise awareness. In the video, the alleged bully is attempting to wrestle away Shad's phone from his hands before failing and repeatedly telling him to move from the seat that he is sitting in at the lunch table and that nobody likes him. I'm telling you, I like the kid. I like the way he handled himself. I like the way he didn't bitch out. I like the way he stood his ground. I'm sorry for what ended up happening to him. But if I was that kid's father, I'd be very proud of the way he was victimized, but by a much bigger kid or seemingly bigger kid. But I would be proud of the way he stood his ground. He didn't embarrass himself. He stood there. He said, "No, I'm not moving. How dare you tell me to move? I can sit here if I want. Nobody likes you," is what the other guy was saying. The bully tries to say that no one wants him there and then asks others if they want him there and then tells Shad that no one likes him, all while Shad remains steadfast in his seat. After moving his tray of food to another table and failing to move his backpack, which Shad fastened onto his back. So the bully picks up the kid's food and moves it to another table and then attempts to move the kid himself physically. "It's heartbreaking. I cried. I couldn't sleep," says Shad's mom. "His neck could have been snapped. I would have lost my son." And that's very true. That's true, man. Those holds, man, those aren't nothing to play around with. So there you go. So we'll see how this ends up happening. That's coming out of Capel, and that's why Capel and Capel schools and bullying thing and all that kind of stuff. Look, bullying is going to happen. Bullying is going to happen, but you gotta point it out. You gotta make a deal of bullying. You know, look, if the issue is bullying and you're on the side of the bully, fuck you. You're a bad person. You're just a bad person. Bullying makes you tough. No, it doesn't. Bullying is a problem. But there are always going to be bullies, and bullies need to be dealt with. And that's why, teach your kid to throw a punch, seriously, because bullies are typically pussies. Bullies typically victimize other people because they have some form of an obvious advantage. whether it's height, whether it's size, whether it's age, whether it's grade level. That is typically it. It's not because the bully is a really good fighter. In fact, most kids who go through training where they can really defend themselves, like most kids who are in martial arts classes, most kids who are in wrestling and all that kind of stuff, most of those kids get a different kind of education when it comes to whatever it is that they're able to do. They're more disciplined. They will defend themselves, but they typically will. I mean, look, unless we're talking about the Karate Kid, right? Cobra Kai. Unless we're talking about the Cobra Kai, which was basically manufacturing bullies. That's not how most not major, but that's not how most martial arts schools that deal with kids handle the teaching of self-defense to children. They just don't. You don't start fights. That's kind of across the board. And I know a lot of people who do. I mean, I was very involved in mixed martial art, not myself personally, but I was very involved in the sport and the evolution of the sport. And I know a lot of people who run gyms, and I know a lot of people who train kids. And it is almost across the board that these kids learn. The first thing they learn is that you don't start fights. What you're going to learn here is going to be a skill set. And in most of these schools, if kids turn out to be bullies, they get kicked out of the classes and they're not allowed to like continue to learn, which is good. But again, I guess there are some bad ones. There are always bad things. There are always bad examples. Let's see here. What are we talking about here? Will says men have to teach their sons to fight. Stop raising pushover boys. I agree with you. I agree with you. The world is full of bad people. Some kids, however, just they're pacifists. They don't want to fight. And it is an unfortunate reality in the world as I see it that those kids will be victimized by bad people. There are bad people out there. I think your daughters. It's not just about fathers, your daughters. Boy, if I had a daughter, woo man, she would learn all of that stuff from the time she was 5 years old. She would learn how to throw a punch. She would learn how to kick a dude in the nuts. She would learn about hinge shots. She would learn about pressure points. She would learn about everything. It's very important. The world is a scary place and there are bad people out there. And again, 9 out of 10 times, bullies don't know how to fight. Bullies do not know how to fight. Bullies are taking advantage of an obvious advantage. Again, height, size, grade, age, whatever it is, that is typically what the bully is fueled by. If he picks on the wrong kid and that kid drops him with, a nicely placed hinge shot right here, right where the jaw meets the skull, you pop a kid there, he'll be eaten through a straw and he'll immediately go unconscious. That is a flash knockout. That is good night. Good night, everybody. And that bully isn't going to bully that kid anymore. No, but are you advocating violence? No, I'm advocating the survival and the end of victimization. I'm not advocating violence. Problem is that a lot of our kids, especially when they get to be 13 and 14 years old, as I'm dealing with right now, they're not making sound decisions anymore because the whole hormone thing, the hormones start making them crazy, start making them not think, and they make them a little more aggressive. And so you really got to drive that home. Really got to push that home. All right, what else is trending today? Tom Cruise is trending. Tom Cruise is trending because he showed up. He was trending yesterday, too. Showed up in Cannes, however you want to say it, the big film festival over there in France. He showed up for the first time in 30 years, and oh, my God, are they laying it on for him. He received an honorary Palme d'Or. That's what they call the trophy there for the best picture. The picture that wins the Cannes Film Festival wins the Palme d'Or, which is a trophy. It's like an Oscar. The Palme d'Or. They gave him an honorary Palme d'Or because he hadn't shown up in like 30 years and he wasn't expecting it. And they finally got him back and they're like, oh, we're so happy to have Tom Cruise. The French military sent a bunch of fighter jets for the screening of Top Gun. Oh my God. The people in the crowd gave a 5-minute rousing standing ovation at the end of Top Gun. It's getting really good reviews. It is. People who have seen Top Gun, at least, and this is all about the hype right now. We'll see. Once the American critics get a hold of it, we'll see what they say. But, the people, it's expected to be, they're actually predicting that it's going to be Tom Cruise's biggest opening weekend ever. I don't know when it's opening. Is it opening like 4th of July weekend or something like that? Is it open? I don't know when it's opening. Anyway, we'll look forward to that. I know I'm going to be I love me some Top Gun. I love Top Gun so much. Me and my kid, we love Top Gun. Been waiting on Maverick which is the new Top Gun movie, Top Gun Maverick. Been waiting on Maverick for like 5 years. It was done. The movie was done and in the can 3 years ago, 2 years ago, whatever it is. It was sitting in the can, and then coronavirus hit, and they said, "Nah, this has got to be released in film. This is not going straight to video. We have got to show this movie in theaters. So let's just sit on it and let's wait until the theater's back open." And here we are this summer. So we're finally going to get to go see Top Gun Maverick. You got John Hamm. You got and apparently this like Goose's son. Remember how Maverick, Tom Cruise, his guy behind him, his navigator or whatever, was Goose, and Goose died, and Tom Maverick felt kind of guilty, like maybe it was my fault. Apparently, this movie has Goose's kid, Goose's son, who the timeline doesn't match up because Goose's son, remember Goose had kids? Remember Meg Ryan played Goose's mom? Which Meg Ryan is not playing Goose's widow in this. They just recast somebody new. I'm like, but Meg Ryan was Goose's widow. Meg Ryan was married to Goose in the original Top Gun. Yeah, but Meg Ryan wasn't Meg Ryan yet. It was a very small role. Meg Ryan would become Meg Ryan after the very small role that she played in Top Gun as Goose's mom. Whatever. Still, I would have liked to have seen, but I think it's because Meg Ryan looks too old to play. Here's the thing. Okay, timeline doesn't match up. So if you go by the timeline of the Top Gun movie, which is like 35 years, it's been like 35 years. So let's say that the kid in this movie who is playing Goose's son was 1 year old, right? At the time, because Goose couldn't, unless Goose, basically froze some of his sperm. And the kid's like 23 years old in this movie. Goose has been dead for 37. This is supposed to be Goose's kid. He's 23. See what I mean? It doesn't match up. But I'm going to suspend that, and I'm going to just enjoy the new Top Gun. Riverdale is trending. Riverdale is trending because apparently the CW series is coming to an end with its 7th season. I never saw Riverdale. Okay, so here's the deal with Riverdale. Okay, Archie and Jughead and Veronica and all that kind of stuff. It's their story, but it's dark, right? It's like the Archie comics mixed with Twin Peaks. It's dark, like spooky. Like I don't know what it is. Anyway, so I have this friend in Chicago who's always talking about Riverdale, and he loves Riverdale. And Riverdale, you should really watch Riverdale. And I'm like, okay, I respect completely, your opinion on stuff. You're really good at this stuff. You have all of these things. He works in media in Chicago. And I'm like, okay, so typically I would take your suggestion, except you're gay. He's gay. He's gay and he loves Riverdale. And all of the reasons that I don't think I'd like Riverdale, I think are reasons because I'm not gay. I think there's a lot of I don't know what it is, but maybe Riverdale is good. Maybe at some point I'll start binging it. I don't know. Riverdale, it's coming to an end in season 7. Amy Adams is trending. Amy Adams, who I just love. I don't love her as much as Jessica Chastain, but I do like Amy Adams. She is trending because this is hysterical. Amy Adams has a new show. Wait, is it a show or a movie? A new movie. Okay. Amy Adams has a new movie that is coming to Hulu. It is a neo-horror thriller starring Amy Adams, a neo-horror thriller that follows a woman who is convinced she's turning into a dog. And it's called Night Bitch. Oh, Amy Adams starring in Night Bitch, the tale of a woman who is convinced she is turning into a dog. That sounds hysterical. That's now. Okay, so that's trending. That's why Amy Adams is trending. But let me show you something. Let me show you the magic, the absolute magic of Twitter, because this just made me, a lot of times you see something that's funny and you're alone and you don't laugh. This actually, I was all alone, and this actually made me go, ha! Like I laughed out loud because it is so brilliant. This is the tweet of the day. This is there's just so many creatively funny people just tweeting and putting shit on Twitter. All right, watch this. Okay, so I want you to see this tweet. Remember, this is a new movie for Amy Adams. It is a neo-noir thriller about a woman who is convinced that she is turning into a dog, and it is called Night Bitch. Look at what somebody tweeted. Look at it. Look at that. It's called Night Bitch, Lemon, a neo-horror thriller starring Amy Adams, who's convinced she's turning into a dog. Ow! That is such a brilliant 30 Rock callback. I mean, this Night Bitch, the new Amy Adams movie, sounds like something that Jack Donaghy from 30 Rock would be putting on the air. That is brilliant. That is the tweet of the day. It's called Night Bitch, Lemon, a neo-horror thriller starring Amy Adams, who is convinced she's turning into a dog. That is no more or less absurd than any of the other silly shows that Jack Donaghy had on the air during the run of 30 Rock. All right, what else is trending? George Carlin is trending because HBO Max this weekend, starting tomorrow. It debuts at 8 p.m. tomorrow on HBO and will also air on HBO Max. It's a two-part Judd Apatow. Everything Judd Apatow is good. It is a two-part documentary series called George Carlin, American Dream. I believe it's like 4 or 5 hours. Part 1 airs Friday evening on HBO Max, posts or streams or whatever you want to say at 8 p.m. And then part 2 is on Saturday, the next night. So basically, that's what I'm doing Saturday. So Saturday, I will be watching the two-part Judd Apatow, George Carlin documentary on HBO Max that is getting absolutely amazing reviews. They're saying this is a really, really good documentary. So there you go. That's why George Carlin is trending. Corn dogs are trending. Why are corn dogs trending? Well, because it's 50-cent corn dog day. Where? Well, not everywhere. Sonic. You got to go to Sonic. Sonic is doing, apparently they do this every year. Here, wait, let me see. Is it every year? I don't know. Let me see this. 50-cent corn dogs at Sonic today. It's 50-cent corn dog day. It's like a national holiday, as Sonic Drive-Ins has announced that today is 50-cent corn dog day. Yeah, okay, that's today. This is according to a story today. Let's see. People wait all year for this very day. Really? For 50-cent corn dogs? I mean, how expensive can corn dogs be normally that you would have to wait all? I mean, it's not like a corn dog costs $25 a corn dog. 50 cent? Look, if you're somebody who's waiting all year, checking the calendar for a bit of hyperbole, I think, in this writing. Nobody's waiting all year for 50-cent corn dog day. Maybe a couple weeks out, you hear that Sonic is going to be doing 50-cent corn dogs, and you make a mental note. You go, oh, yeah, I like a 50-cent corn dog. I always feel so superior. I have more to say, but I probably could have just stopped right there. I always feel superior to people whenever it's like a free giveaway, something ridiculous, something that you can get any day, anytime you want it. But because it's like, I don't know, like half price, they will line up and wait for hours for a free slushie at 7-Eleven every July 7th. It's like you see these people, you can get slushies are not rare, and they're only like $1. What is going on here? Why are you waiting in line for like 2 hours to get something free that 364 days a year costs you $1? This is your time. Are you that insignificant? Does your time mean that little to you? All right. So it's Sonic. It's National Corn Dog Day. I like a corn dog. I don't love corn dogs. I like a corn dog. There's a very specific process for me to enjoy a corn dog. I like to take some mustard, some yellow mustard, and I like to take some ketchup, and I put the yellow mustard and the ketchup together, and then you mix it up. And you mix up equally. So you're making like a mustard ketchup sauce. So you mix it up and then you eat the corn dog and you dip it in the mustard ketchup sauce. That's how I do it. I have maybe 1 or 2 corn dogs every decade. But, every time I have a corn dog, I'm like, I should have more corn dogs. Corn dogs are not terrible. You know what that is? You know what that is like the total opposite of? Renaissance Fair turkey legs. Oh, God. I am such a simple beast. If I am not even just Renaissance fairs, but carnivals, anywhere, you go to these places, smoked turkey legs. If I go somewhere and they are selling smoked turkey legs, I'm like, I'm getting a turkey leg. And I don't know why. I think maybe I just like holding it. Like I just like walking around with this giant Fred Flintstone club of a meat stick. And I just kind of like turkey leg. And I take 2 bites of it and I go, I don't want this much turkey leg. And I throw it out. It's like the direct opposite of corn dogs. I have corn dog maybe a couple times every decade. And every time I have a corn dog, I go, I should have more corn dogs. And then I probably have a turkey leg 2 or 3 times a year. And every time I eat it, I go, I should stop doing this. This is ridiculous. Why? I take 2 or 3 bites out. You know what else? You know what is the liquid version of the giant turkey leg that you find yourself saddled with? The what we call carne rita. I dated a guy. I don't even know if that's really what it's called, but I dated a girl who used to call them carne rita. They're the margaritas that you get at like festivals or carnivals or whatever, and they come in like the humorously large, long cup. Whatever. It's like a big long thing, and it's got the long straw, and you always see girls walking around. Same thing. The carne rita. It's like I can't drink all of this, and besides, here's what I hate about those carne ritas. They're made with wine. They're made with white wine. There's no tequila in there. That's like white wine and some kind of slushy. It's whatever. The corn dog was first patented in 1927. The Texas State Fair sells about 630,000 corn dogs per season. And that's only in 24 days. The National Corn Dog Day is March 19th. In August of 2016, a lawsuit was filed against a bar in Albuquerque, New Mexico for promoting a corn dog eating contest that induced death. Jimmy Dean sells a breakfast variety of corn dog. Ooh, I was not aware of that. A line of maple-scented corn dog-related jewelry is available for purchase. Who's buying that? Who is buying a line of maple-scented corn dog-related jewelry? I don't. All right, there you go. Oh, the most popular condiments for dipping your corn dog are mustard and or ketchup. Well, I like to mix them together. You can take it to the extreme by using ranch or even barbecue sauce. Well, that goes without saying. You're not inventing anything new by saying that anything that can be dipped in mustard or ketchup can also be dipped in ranch or barbecue. We know this. In fact, almost everything that we wouldn't normally eat that we will eat with ranch dressing only exists as a conduit to the ranch. Celery sticks, nobody's just going to eat celery sticks. But if you're dipping celery sticks in ranch, now you got something. It's because the ranch is what you want. You don't want the celery. You just tolerate the celery. Moving on. Corn Dog Day at Sonic, 50 cents. Also, big deal today, trending. This is like fat guy news, right? So we're going to do some fat guy news here. Mexican pizza is back at Taco Bell. That's right. People have been talking about it now for a couple of months since Taco Bell first announced. All right. We heard you. We're putting Mexican pizza back on the menu. Mexican pizza apparently first appeared on the Taco Bell menu back in the 1980s. And then during the start of the pandemic, Taco Bell made a menu decision to where they were going to take a whole bunch of things off the menu. I don't know what the reasoning was behind it. But in 2020, the Mexican pizza was removed from the Taco Bell menu. People lost their shit. People were so, bring back Mexican pizza. Mexican pizza is back, and people are like, yay, we forced a company to do something. Now they will never get Mexican pizza. There will be 2 weeks where everybody gets Mexican pizza, and then it'll go back to being an item that people get maybe once a year, and it'll be like one of the lowest selling items on the Taco Bell menu. And then the people at Taco Bell will be like, this is why we took it off. We took it off because it was like the least selling, but that's what we do. We want it back. It would be like nobody gets Filet-O-Fishes at McDonald's. I do, but I'm weird. I love the Filet-O-Fish. But the Filet-O-Fish is probably one of the lesser selling items at McDonald's. If McDonald's were to remove the Filet-O-Fish, there would be an outcry and a response that would suggest that the Filet-O-Fish was the greatest menu item, but nobody's buying it. Nobody's buying it. That's why they do things. That is exactly why you only get the McRib once a year. Because people are like, or McDonald's people are like, if we put the McRib on all the time, you people would never get it. So what we do is we only put the McRib on for like a couple of months or a month or so every year. And then you people go nuts. And we sell more McRibs in that 1 month than we would ever sell in 12 months if it was always, because we are stupid animals. Can't get the McRib, got to get 5 of them. Meanwhile, you probably wouldn't get 5 McRibs in an entire year if it was always an option. We're idiots. Okay, Marnie Schulenberg is trending. I don't know who Marley Schulenberg is, but she's trending on all platforms. Apparently, she was an actress on As the World Turns. She's a soap opera actress. She died at 37 yesterday. She had breast cancer. So very sad. So there you go. If you're a fan of As the World Turns, sad day for you, Marnie Schulenberg. That's a sad day for her. That's a sad thing. That's all right. I know a lot of people have had bad experiences with cancer, but I always say that like breast cancer is like the worst one because it takes our moms. Takes our moms and our wives. That's, but mostly, look, we all have moms, men and women. That's, that's the one that takes moms away from us. So, there you go. She died at 37 years old, soap opera actress. Beautiful, beautiful woman. Beautiful woman. Trending today. Well, she's a soap opera actress. They don't let ugly people be on soap operas. If there's a character that is supposed to be ugly, it'll be like a former Miss Universe who puts on glasses. Oh, look how ugly she is with her glasses. That's how soap operas do it. Matt Cameron is trending. Matt Cameron, drummer for Pearl Jam. He is trending because he's very angry at Rolling Stone. Rolling Stone magazine did an issue about Taylor Hawkins where they interviewed a whole bunch of Taylor Hawkins' friends. For some reason, Foo Fighters, Taylor Hawkins' family, and people close to the situation refused to talk to Rolling Stone about this article, but a lot of other people in music did. Matt Cameron, who was very close friends, Matt Cameron, the drummer for Pearl Jam, who was very close friends with Taylor Hawkins, said some things in the article that suggested that maybe Taylor Hawkins was thinking about stepping back from Pearl Jam. At least that's how it was portrayed in the Rolling Stone article. Matt Cameron is now vociferously walking that back, saying that what he said was taken out of context. He never said that Taylor Hawkins was thinking about leaving the Foo Fighters. He simply described a state of life that Taylor was in. So anyway, that's the thing. So Matt Cameron, he apologized to the people, the Foo Fighters. He said, look, he goes, I'm sorry that you had to read that. That is not what I said. I should have known better than to talk to Rolling Stone about Taylor when I learned that you guys were not talking to Rolling Stone about Taylor. So I'm sorry. At any rate, Matt Cameron seems very sorry for the way that his comments were portrayed. He claims they were taken way out of context and that Rolling Stone was just looking for an angle. So the Taylor was looking to leave Rolling Stone, Matt Cameron says. And he's like, no, that's not what I said. That is not what I said. I said that he was aging and he was looking at what he was going to do with the rest of his life. I never said that he was leaving the Foo Fighters. That's just you. That's you taking what I said way out of context and then adding your own extrapolation from it. So Matt Cameron is trending because of that. Pearl Jam is also trending. Speaking of Matt Cameron, Pearl Jam is trending because they have canceled the rest of their tour, which is only like 3 or 4 shows. So that's not that bad. Why? Why is Pearl Jam canceling the rest of their tour? Pearl Jam is canceling the rest of their tour because Matt Cameron and the drummer and Jeff Ament have coronavirus, and they were able to fill in with a different drummer for one show when Matt Cameron first got sick with coronavirus earlier in the week. They got through it, but then Jeff Ament is now battling coronavirus, and so Pearl Jam has decided we're just going to shut it down. We only got like 3 or 4 more dates left on this tour. Everybody's sick. We don't want to play with other people, blah, blah, blah. They're offering refunds, pearljam.com, or well, whatever. If you have tickets, no, you know what? Nobody listening to this had tickets to see Pearl Jam in Sacramento, San Jose, or San Francisco, right? No, so I'm not worried about it. Yankees, the New York Yankees are trending right now. Why are the Yankees trending? Because they cut a player for stealing. Apparently, they've got a AAA player on the Yankees. Let's get his name out here. Let's see who this guy is. Let's see. Making it to Major League Baseball and playing for the New York Yankees is the lifelong dream of a million of people. However, those who actually make it, no. Jake Sanford. Jake Sanford was a 3rd-round draft pick. He was matriculating his way through the Yankees farm system. They had big plans for him. He's a big hitting slugger who can play both corner outfield positions. But they've said, get out of here, son. You're done, because he was stealing equipment from Yankee players, shoes, gloves, jerseys, hats, and then selling them online. And he was also screwing over fans by putting out, ads saying, I can get you this. And then they send the money, and then he was never giving them that. So good job, dummy, you moron. Ended your baseball career because you're a stupid, greedy. Let's see here. I don't need that. Texas Heat is trending. Texas Heat's going to be really hot. Going to be super hot this weekend. So, they're talking about in the hundreds. They are. God, it's so hot now, man. What the hell? We have no nice weather here. We went from blah to gray and wet, blah, to like 100 degrees as the air conditioning kicks on. Thank you. Yeah, so it's going to be hot. It's going to be super hot. Let me see here. This is the early. We set a record. Apparently, this is the earliest that we've gotten. No, El Paso. Yeah, El Paso got to like 105 degrees the other day. It's like the earliest in history that they've got. I mean, I remember it's August. I remember when I lived here before I moved back. I remember the first couple of years of having to exist in a Texas summer was just brutal. It was like the worst weather experience of my life. And I come from the Midwest. I've lived through blizzards. I've lived through polar vortexes. You can survive those things because you just don't go outside. You just stay inside where it's nice and warm. And every once in a while you look outside and you go, oh my God, that looks like a hellscape. I am not going out. But, when it gets to be 114 in August, you want to go outside. You want to do it. Was awful for the first couple. It's where I had the epiphany. I don't know why the city of Dallas exists. I have no idea. This city was founded, 1860s, whatever, somewhere back in the 1800s. This city was founded before ice and before air conditioning. And it's not like there's a whole bunch of natural lakes when people got here to be able to, cool off. Who lived in this part of the country in 1860 and said, I'm going to stay here forever because August is awesome? I don't get it. Anyway, now we got air conditioning. Air conditioning is fine. Air conditioning is great. It would be uninhabitable here, I'm telling you. If you feel, so the first couple of years it was really hot and it was brutal and I hated it. And then my body got used to it. And then it was like, I'd be driving in my car, I'd look down at my temperature thing and it'd be like, 106 degrees here on August the 3rd. Bring it, pussy. I was like, come on, bring it. This isn't bad. I can handle this. But now I'm readjusting to it. And I'm telling you, what have we had? We've had a week of straight 90s. If you feel as though it has jumped straight to summer, you're not imagining things. A major episode of sweltering heat, which has already toasted Texas, is about to swallow much of the central and eastern lower 48. Temperatures in the mid-90s will surge as far north as the Canadian border by Saturday afternoon, running 25 degrees or more above average. Oh, mid-90s, you pussies. I could do mid-90s standing on my head, as long as I had air conditioning. Let's see here. Amarillo, Texas reached 101 degrees on Tuesday, breaking a record that has stood for nearly a century. In Dallas, the past 11 days have hovered at or above 90 degrees. It is the earliest such streak in recorded weather history in Texas. 11 days. So for the last 11 days here in Texas, it has either been right at 90 or above 90. And that's the early, that's something, isn't that like mid-July? That's like July, maybe June. It is May. It is the middle of May. And it's already been touching 100 degrees almost. The relentless heat in Texas prompted the electric, now we got to get into ERCOT. Oh, Jesus. That is look, I felt for you people back when, I was not here yet, but when the great power fiasco of what was that, 2020, when you got the winter storm, okay. But you're not used to it. So, you didn't handle the power grids all failed. You got some snow, got a little cold for a couple of days. Terrible situation. Power failed. People died. My own kid, during that situation, they, I don't know the exact situation, but they had to all go to the hospital with carbon monoxide issues. And thank God that his mom and his stepdad were on top of this. During that power thing, apparently the carbon monoxide things didn't go off. And there was some incident and they woke up, went outside in the freezing cold, and the ambulances came and they checked them out and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it was a bad situation. It was not just for them. I mean, thankfully, oh God, thankfully they, had, his parents are smart, thankfully. But yeah, I mean, I know it was really bad, but what happens? What happens when this happens in the summer? What happens when it's 100 degrees for 7 days in a row, right? In mid-June or next week for that matter. I mean, who knows how this is going to be? I can't live here without air conditioning, people. I just can't. And last summer we had rolling blackouts. Last summer there were multiple occasions when, just the power would go out for an hour or two at a time. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Why is the power grid in this state so janky? Why? I don't get it. All right, so that's coming. Byron says he's putting money on a mild summer. Well, they're already shattering records. You've already lost that bet. It's the first time in history that there have been 11 days of above 90 in Dallas ever. So, you've already lost the mild summer. But I see what you're saying, and I will go with you on this because fingers crossed that this is just the worst of it. And then it's going to get progressive. Look at you, Byron, Mr. Optimism. I'm going to get on the optimism canoe with you. Row, baby, row. Let's look for a 4th of July that is around 83 degrees, sunny. That would be nice. That'd be real nice. Guitar Gods is trending. Do we even want to do this? I know we're running late, but that's okay. I got nowhere to be. Do you guys got anywhere to be? We got nowhere to be, right? We're good. Byron, that's how Byron is getting away. It's not summer yet. It's like, no, you're right. No, you're right. That's right. Technically, you are right. It is not summer yet. So you're predicting a mild summer, which again, I'm in the optimism canoe with you. I'm rowing with you. We are claiming we are going to will it so that it is going to be a mild summer. And the reason that we are so ardently in the camp of mild summer is because it has been a record setting spring as far as how hot it's been. So, yeah. So, yeah, premature sort of heat ejaculation is what we're getting right now. Guitar gods. We'll end with this one because I thought this was interesting. A whole bunch of different guitar players are trending because they made one of these lists of like the greatest guitar players of all time, which I thought was interesting because my son has recently discovered guitar gods. He's recently discovered like guitar players. I was shocked. We were driving. I went to pick him up. We were driving, and he grabs control of the music, and we used to do this thing where it's like I play a song and then he plays a song. But now he's got pretty good taste in music, and I'm really interested in where his young taste in music is going. So he goes, "You got to hear something," and he played for me an isolated lead guitar only track, a full like 4 minutes of it, the full song, the original studio isolated lead guitar track from Randy Rhoads on Crazy Train, which I'm like, this is all right. This is cool. It's cool that he has such a nuanced appreciation for music and all that kind of stuff. It's something that was this far before his time that he could still appreciate and not be like me as a kid. When I was a kid, if anything was like before my time, it'd be like, that's stupid because only good stuff happens now. And so we started talking about Randy Rhoads, and then I started telling him about Eddie Van Halen. So then he went and he started listening to all of these Eddie Van Halen clips, and he loves Eruption now. He's like, this is so great. All the chandeliers. So he's really, which I didn't get that from me. Like, I am not a guitar solo guy, right? That's not my thing. But it's neat that he is, and I encourage his interest in that kind of stuff. So we had a weekend where we talked a lot about guitar players, and I have to tell you, he made an argument to me. He said, "Who are the 3 best guitar players of all time?" And I went Eddie Van Halen. I don't know who I was thinking. I don't know who else did I say. Whatever. Anyway, I gave him these ones, and he goes, "You don't put Jack Black on that list?" And I thought, Jack Black. I'm sorry, Jack White. I put Jack Black. Jack Black from Tenacious D. Good guitar player. And I go, no. And I outright said no. And then he just started playing me all of these White Stripe guitar riffs and all of his solo work. And he's like, I'm like, good Lord, dude, my 13-year-old kid has me going, maybe I'm wrong on this. So anyway, we had a big weekend where a lot of our conversations concerned the great guitar gods. And then this is trending here. All right, so let's see here. Coming in number 15 in the guitar, I'm just going to do 15. 15 in this list of guitar gods, Brian May. Brian May from Queen, which is very good. I would absolutely say that's deserving. Number 14 on the list, Jimmy Page. Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin. Number 13 on the list, Bonnie Raitt. It seems like the person who made this list was like, we got to shoehorn some women in here. Because Bonnie Raitt's a great guitar player, but lead guitar player of all time, Bonnie Raitt is better than Brian May and Jimmy Page. Ugh. Then we've got Randy Rhoads. Randy Rhoads, who my son was, touting Randy Rhoads. Randy Rhoads, followed by Keith Richards, followed by Carlos Santana, followed by Slash, followed by Sister Rosetta Tharpe. See, here's another one. Sister Rosetta Tharpe is one of the original electric guitar players. She was a nun, a black lady back in the 1930s and 40s, and she played this newfangled instrument called the electric guitar. I don't know that she was Hendrix, but okay, she makes the list because whatever. Pete Townsend makes the list here as the greatest guitar players of all time. Eddie Van Halen is next. Stevie Ray Vaughan. And then Jack White comes in at number 2 on this list, which I was like, my kid suggested as much over the weekend. And I thought, no, let an old man tell you about this. But wow, look at this. Jack White of the White Stripes comes in at number 2 on this list. And number 1, oh no, I'm sorry, that was number 3 on the list. Oh no, number 2 on the list. Number 1 on the list, I don't know, man. Angus Young. Angus is cool from AC/DC, but what are we talking about here? He's number 1 of all time. He makes the list for darn sure. But all right, let's go all the way back to the beginning of the list, since we got a little bit of time to talk about some of these people. Coming in at number 30, the last guy on the list, Dwayne Allman of the Allman Brothers, Chet Atkins of the Atkins Brothers, Jeff Beck of Faces, right? Wasn't that where? Was he also in the Rolling Stones? I don't know. Whatever. Rod Stewart, I think. Chuck Berry makes the list. Richie Blackmore, Deep Purple, right? Richie Blackmore. Richie Blackmore makes the list. Eric Clapton makes the list. Lita Ford. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Lita Ford is a better guitar player than Eric Clapton and Richie Blackmore. I don't know this list sometimes. David Gilmour. Okay, you can make a case. Yeah, sure. Makes Buddy Guy without a doubt. Buddy Guy's one of the 5 greatest guitar players of all time. And I'm not going to argue about it. I've seen that guy live multiple times. I've seen him do things with a guitar that I've never seen. Kirk Hammett of Metallica makes the list. George Harrison makes the list. Jimi Hendrix doesn't even make the top 20. What the fuck? Tommy Iommi of Black Sabbath, B.B. King. And then we get into all the ones we already talked about. All right, there you go. These lists. First of all, these lists are created to have the outrage moments. The lists are created so that we can see something like, Jimi Hendrix not even being in the top 20 and going, are you crazy? And then we share it and it gets clicks and it gets likes. So none of these things are ever authentic. They're always just done to create outrage because outrage sells. Jeff Beck was in the Yardbirds. Yeah, the Yardbirds, that's really crazy. The Yard, you ever learn about I'm sure Jeff does. I'm not telling him anything. The Yardbirds had 3 of the greatest guitar players who ever picked up a guitar in their band at any given time. You had Jeff Beck, you had, wasn't it Clapton, and you had, Beck and Page, Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin, Eric Clapton, and Jeff Beck. You would think there would be more well-known guitar solos from the Yardbirds. There you have it. Ross says this list is 75% horseshit. I don't disagree. I don't completely disagree. I do, however, I like that Jack White, not Jack Black, is getting some credibility because he really is such a great guitar player. What he was able to do with just a guitar and drums with the White Stripes, that sound, that he's incredible. I like him. And my son loves him. That's a guy who we would have to, like, if he came and played a concert, I would have to go with my 13-year-old son because he would love that and I would love that. And that would be just like one of those deals where we both would be equally as excited to see that show. But Eddie Van Halen's still my favorite because that's, I come from the 80s. Do I have to keep telling you that? Eddie Van Halen is still my guy. All right, let's take a look now and see what, if anything, new has begun to trend in the last couple of hours since we signed on here. Let's see if there's anything new that people are talking about. Oh, what is the story? I keep seeing the story sent. Bob Odenkirk says goodbye to Better Call Saul. Is this the last season of Better Call Saul? I'm waiting for all of the episodes to post so that I can binge watch them and watch them at my own happy to. Oh, you know what? This might explain why we have had kind of a severe drop off in. Bum, 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 bum. There you go. Boom! Just like April. Thank you, April. And we had one other one. I'm sorry. I see. This is why I don't like to say the names of the people who donate to the show. Donate to the show. You can tip. I haven't had that up in a couple of days. It explains why every day when I look at this, I'm like, well, that one was for free. Well, that one was for free. Well, that show was for free, which they should all be for free. The show is fueled by your generosity. Tip me like I'm your bartender or your barista or whatever it is. You can help us out at Venmo. You can help us out with Cash App, whatever it is. We do appreciate your support of the show. 2 streams daily. We do the High Noon Show here at noon every day, and then we come and we do the Pillow Talk version. Pugs and Parker proudly present Pillow Talk. That comes on at 9 o'clock. All right, let's see what is trending here. Rihanna is trending. Oh, Rihanna had her baby. Rihanna, weep, weep. Rihanna and ASAP Rocky welcome a baby. Are they married? I don't know. You don't have to be married to have a baby, I guess. Jimbo Fisher is responding to Nick Saban now. He's calling him a narcissist, and he says, we are done. Apparently, Jimbo used to work for Saban. He was one of his coordinators, and now he's saying that we are done. Vangelis has died. Oscar-winning composer of Chariots of Fire dies at 79 years old. Okay, so there are things. Amber Turd. Amber Turd is trending. Love it. Love it. You poop in a bed, you're not allowed in the social media era to ever live that down. Amber Turd could, 30 years from now, win an Academy Award. And it is my hope that hashtag Amber Turd will be trending on that day. Heard's expert told the jury that Amber Turd is a thing. I can't believe Amber Turd's team brought in an expert to roast themselves. Amber Turd just got mentioned in a court of law. Amber Turd. Oh, so I guess they are mentioning the hashtag Amber Turd during the trial. Well, she shouldn't have pooped in a bed. And I believe that she did. Max Scherzer. That was weird. That was like a big whistle. I'm sorry if I blew it on your speakers. Max Scherzer is trending. He's injured. He's got a high-grade internal oblique strain, and Scherzer will be out now for 6 to 8 weeks. Ivanka is trending. Let me see. Oh, she's still beautiful. Good. Can't take that away from her. Ivanka Trump is beautiful. Let's see. All right. I don't care why she's trending. We don't need to get into that. That's just stupid people being stupid at each other. Let's see here. Peacock is trending. Peacock. Anybody watch Peacock? I don't watch Peacock. My mom watches a lot of Peacock. I don't watch Peacock because it's too hard to navigate the app on the smart TV. There are things, and don't they give you commercials? I am not going to start watching commercials again. I watched commercials for like the first 40-something years of my life. The last few years, I haven't had to watch commercials. I am not going back. Ellen Barkin is trending. Why is Ellen Barkin trending? Oh, didn't she have something to do with the Amber Turd trial? Ellen Barkin doesn't remember how many months she was banging Johnny Depp. Oh, okay. So apparently Johnny Depp and Ellen Barkin had a thing, and that's being brought up in the case. The trial that is happening. Nope. Riverdale is still trending. Yeah, nothing. Why is... Okay, so Malcolm X is trending. People discuss the teachings of civil rights leader Malcolm X on what would have been his 97th birthday. I saw that trending earlier today, and I was like, is it Malcolm X? And then when I put together the celebrity birthdays, Why didn't I see him? Why didn't I see Malcolm X mentioned in the birthdays, the list of birthdays that I call together every day? Okay, let's see here. Let me see. Would have been his 97th birthday, so that would be 25, something like that. Okay. Yeah, he's not listed. He's just flat out not listed. Not listed on the list that I. Is he? What's his real name? English author, American painter and sculptor, American golfer. Yeah, no. Okay, well there you go. That would have been a big one to mention. I ambered the bed on that one. So there you go. I missed that one. I am not infallible. Well, I think we all know that. And Glee is trending because apparently Glee premiered on this day in 2009. Never seen an episode. Never saw a single episode of Glee, which is noteworthy because I had been, until that point, a massive, massive fan of Ryan Murphy. And then I just took one look at Glee and I said, I am out. That is not something that I'm interested in. All right. Although I do think that Jane Lynch, I've seen enough highlights of Jane Lynch from Glee to, say, oh my God, Jane Lynch is so funny. I bet my kid is listening to music. Let's see. What is he listening to? It is 2:35. I put on some. No, he's not. He's not listening to music. Or maybe he is. We're going to end the show. We're going to end the show here. This show has completely run out of steam. Byron, why is Al saying love the Toadies? Just wondering about that. Because we might go see the Toadies this weekend. They're playing at Richardson at like Richardson Fest. We might go. That is a thing that hold on. Don't like that. James Parker was like, dude, we should go see the Toadies this weekend in Richardson. I'm like, okay, maybe we will. So why is that being mentioned now in the chat room? Jeff says, yeah, Better Call Saul is wrapping up. Oh, Byron. Oh, I get it. Because I said I come from the 80s. You said I come from the water. Toadies. Boom, boom. There you go. I'm sorry. There you go. I thought somebody was like, hey, we're going to see the Toadies in Richardson. I'm like, hey, I might go see the Toadies in Richardson. I don't know. I don't know if I will. I might. I don't know. Crowds, not my thing. I would be more likely to go see the Toadies if they were playing in a bar, in a club, in a setting like that, rather than go to an outdoor festival. I don't really, that's not my thing. Okay, we start arguing about Lisa and her role in the Toadies. Okay, that's fine. We can do that. All right, we're done. We are done. Let's see here. I have got my poetry. I have got my songs. They see me through the lonely nights. Help me to be strong. Help me to be strong. Like the dancing bear, trained to be the best. Trained to be the best. I am on a never-ending quest. I can smile a little now. Things are going good. Things are going good now. Had to be on guard. That is understood. It has been a journey, a multi-answer test. Multi-answer test. Jeff says, I heard somewhere that Jack White is playing Toyota Pavilion on Monday night. What is Toyota Pavilion? and I'm in no position. I am no financial position to be able to go see Jack White with my son. So I will have to table that life dream. Quest.
Tomorrow is another day. The best is yet to come.
Best is yet to come.
I have found a different way, so baffling to some.
Whoa, whoa.
I have got an old guitar. That is all I need.
It's all I need. Pillow Talk tonight. Join us, Pugs and Parker. Here's the deal with Pillow Talk. This is the one you're going to do this is the one that every day, if I'm not doing this show, then something really important has happened or some kind of irremovable thing has occurred. And by the way, I should also say that there's going to be coming times, not this week or next week or the next week, but there are going to be coming times over the summer where I will have my kid with me full time. So this show, the noon show, and maybe take a day off here or there. Not every day, but there may be over the summer stretch with my kid. There may be a few days when we don't do this high noon show. As far as the Pillow Talk show goes, you can probably expect Pillow Talk episodes to be preempted or suspended on any night where the Mavs are playing, at least for the next couple of weeks. Look, if the Mavs make it to the finals, which is what we're all hoping, then it'll continue. But I do apologize for last night, but I need to have some joy in my life. And yes, doing Pillow Talk at 9 p.m. every evening, 9 p.m. Central Time, Pugs and Parker proudly present Pillow Talk. That is something that I enjoy. But, sometimes I just want to watch the Mavs. Sometimes I just want to watch a little NBA Western Conference Finals. Thank you, Al. That stuff is nice. Pillow Talk. Unless there's sports. Significant sports. That is pretty much true, Byron.
Tomorrow is another day. The best is yet to come.
Now that's an idea, Byron. That is an idea. We figure out how to do that. Maybe that I would totally be willing to do that. Maybe we just do a Mavs watching party where we all watch together. But the problem with that is the delay. Like, I don't know that we could all watch together. I don't know how that would work. I don't know. I got to ask some smart people about that. But yeah, man, that would be good. Or maybe we could all just be human beings and go to a bar. Could do that. That could be a thing. We go to a bar and we could watch a Mavs game. Just throwing it out there.
I can smile a little now. Things are going good.
Things are going good. Hey, Ed, Byron has a suggestion. Get on that. Write a check for some NBA rights so that we can stream the games. Good idea.
Down the road I'll travel,
far from the comfort nest. Love. Okay, gotta go. See you tonight at 9. Bye, everybody. Have a good one.
I am on a never-ending quest.